Tomorrow, another chance of showers, partly to mostly cloudy, 73, with more rain Friday. On 13 First Alert, meteorologist Derek Dahlman.
Give Dad the ultimate gift this Father's Day with Skill Power Tools from Menards. Take on any project with power, precision, and durability. Whether you're drilling, sawing, sanding, or driving, Skill Power Tools deliver top performance to help you get the job done right. Don't miss out on big savings. Shop Skill Power Tools today and grab all your must-have tools at Menards. Plus, visit Menards.com to check out our latest flyer and discover all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Good morning, sports fans and enthusiasts from every corner of the globe. It's time to rise and grind because it's game time.
What time is it? Game time!
So grab your coffee, turn up the volume, and get ready to join the conversation.
Y'all ready for this?
Because the Dan Kasper Show begins right now.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
Here's your host and maestro of sports knowledge himself, Dan Kasper.
Let's go!
What up, everybody? Good morning and a very happy Wednesday to you all. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios here this morning. A big thanks for tuning in, however you're tuning in. If it's on those radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also available to stream online at sportstalk1051.com. Got your app, download that, take it on the go, the Sports Talk app. Your Alexa device, just say, yo, Alexa, play WAYY. Video streams are also up and rolling on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, etc. But appreciate you making us a part of your starts on this Making the Turn Wednesday. And we got a full lineup coming at you. What's on our game plan for us this morning? The Crew picking up a win last night, 4-1 over the Braves. Thanks to the home run ball by Jackson Cheerio and Jake Bowers. Some solid pitching from Quinn Priester, who picks up his 4th win of the season. Priester going 6 innings, giving up just 1 earned run, 7 Ks, 7 hits, no walks. And then the bullpen holding it down afterwards. Uribe going 2 strong innings, giving up just 1 hit. And then Trevor McGill picking up his 13th save, no hits with a couple of Ks. Don't look now, but Joey Ortiz had a couple of hits last night too. So you're looking at, maybe. I mean, what hit at least in his last, is it 3 games right now? Is that what we call a little bit of a hot streak going on here for Ortiz? But hey, actually 1, 2, 3, 4-game hitting streak for Joey Ortiz right now. Let's go, baby. All right, let's turn it around there, man. So, but other than that, you had Cheerio with a couple of hits as well. So Brewers in a position to win the series later on this afternoon as they look to wrap up the series with a win and go into this 4-game series against the Cardinals on a high note. First pitch going to be around 1:10 this afternoon. So set your alarms, set your alarms for that game. You can listen to it on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. So we'll talk about that, and also the Brewers news from yesterday. The Miz is getting called up. Jacob Mizorowski getting called up, the flamethrower that's we've been hearing about for the last couple of years, who has been off to an absolutely fantastic start for AAA this season. He is being called up. Sounds like going to be getting the start on Thursday, going up against the Cardinals. So, but so far this year, throughout his major or minor league career, 3.04 ERA, 320 strikeouts, and a little under 234 total innings. He's 4-2 with a 2.13 ERA so far this season. Consistently going up triple-digit velocity in his outings too. So I mean, I think there's a lot of excitement with this guy. We'll see firsthand for a lot of us at the major league level. Sounds like tomorrow. So I know it's not an offensive bat and such, but man, I think there's an excitement level to see Jacob Mizorowski making his major league debut, and to see the big 6'7" kid coming in who can even touch triple digits later on, deep in his outings too. So I'm pumped to see him. I know it's probably not the biggest need right now with the Brewers, but I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table at the major league level. So we'll talk about that as well with our Brewers chat here this morning. Packers minicamp kicking off yesterday. We got to hear from Brian Gutekunst after the Jair Alexander release. We get to hear from him, some of the players after practice and such. Some clips from practice. Bo Melton getting some reps at corner, which I think there's too many fans overreacting one way or the other to that. Me personally, I feel like it's like, okay, you drafted a couple wide receivers. Bo Melton's a little bit down on the depth chart. It's, trying to find a way to maybe keep your spot on the roster and such. So I honestly would not read too much into it. Like, oh my gosh, is he going to be a top 3, top 4? Do the Packers think he's a top 3, top 4 corner already? Let's just slow the roll. It's June. Okay. It's June. So, but, to break it all down for us and such, and maybe give us a little bit of insight, ESPN.com's Rob Demovsky will be joining us just a couple hours from now at 8:30 this morning. So be good to catch up with Rob, and a big thanks for him in taking some time during mandatory minicamp to chat with us up here in the Valley. But one interesting note too from yesterday was, we've been talking about the salary cap space that is available for Green Bay after the release of Jair Alexander. And instead of doing the post June 1st that everybody just assumed was going to be the case for Green Bay has actually elected to take the whole dead cap hit this year. They're taking on the full dead cap hit this year instead of spreading it around. So instead of having about 40 some odd $40 million available, they're just going to take that whole dead cap, and it'll be off the books for next year in that 2026 salary cap. Again, 2026, we knew that they were a little bit strapped for cash. So this allows them to maybe have a little bit more breathing room and such, and a little bit more flexibility in that. So, but yeah, kind of maybe an interesting thing. Brian Gutekunst also noted yesterday too, according to Matt Schneidman, this was a Matt Schneidman tweet saying Brian Gutekunst talking about all his 2025 cap space, and says that several transactions will come out today that will have the Packers taking on more cap this year. So we'll go through some other notes from practice, including, hey, Jordan Morgan getting reps at left tackle, first team reps at left tackle yesterday, the former first-round pick and such. So, but we'll go through all that coming up a little bit later on this morning. We've got stock reports, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. If you want to play along with us, you can by hitting us up with a text or commenting on the video streams, or hitting us up on the socials as well. So think about that for a little bit if you haven't had a chance to, but let us know whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling in your opinion. We got the NBA Finals continuing tonight with Game 3 between the Pacers and the Thunder. So we'll make some picks with that coming up in our pick segments a little bit later on. But all right, that's your game plan for us this morning. That's what's on the docket here. A little bit of Brewers talk, a little bit of green and gold talk, and such. Just how we want a Wednesday morning, right? So, Brewers fans, I want to hear from you. Your thoughts on the call up of Jacob Mizorowski. We'll say, at least on the socials, it was mostly well received. And I think there's an enthusiasm, there's an excitement level surrounding Jacob Misiorowski making his major league debut. Again, this is a guy that we have heard a lot about. Maybe you've even seen some of the clips online and on social media, and just maybe reading a ton about him with his triple-digit fastball. You know, there's an excitement level surrounding him, and there's going to be an excitement level on Thursday night when he makes that debut. So we'll see how I'm not saying I would venture to guess, and this is just straight up a guess. I don't know if he's going to stay on the Major League Ball Club all season long. Right now, my guess would be no. But again, I could be completely wrong on this. We'll see how it all plays out. But there's definitely got to be, I would hope, at least from fans, an excitement level and enthusiasm level. Yes, I know it's not the biggest need for the Brewers, but I think it was just a matter of time that he was going to get called up from what he was doing down at the AAA level. It was like eventually, we got to get this guy up. Guys just kind of lighten some dudes up down in AAA. So, but we'll hit that up and recap yesterday's W and look ahead to today's series finale against the Braves, with the Brewers having a chance to win another series. Maybe heading into this big-time 4-game series with the Cardinals that starts tomorrow that, well, could shape out the division here in early June. A little flip-flopping in the division.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Hey guys, it's Dan Kasper here, and I've been going to Tilden Gun for years, and there's a reason I keep going back. Whether I need some new ammo, a new firearm, or just want to check out what's new, I know I'm in good hands. It's more than just a gun shop. It's a place where you're treated like family. The guys at Tilden Gun know their stuff. They've helped me find the right gear time and time again, whether it's for deer season, turkey season, or just adding something new to the collection. And they don't listen. They answer your questions, and they genuinely care about getting what you need. And if they don't have it, they'll work with you to find it. Over the years, I've sent plenty of my buddies their way, and every single one of them has come back saying the same thing. That's a place I'm going to keep going back to. If you haven't been to Tilden Gun, you're missing out. Great service, fair prices, and people you could trust. The only place I go to when it comes to looking for a deer rifle or a turkey shotgun is Tilden Gun. Visit them today at 12427 90th Avenue in Chippewa Falls and check them out online at tildengun.com.
The big focus in America today is on your health. And more people are looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hi, John Murphy here for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment, but now it's mainstream. And QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. Their well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now, 715-443-4440, 715-443-4440. That's 715-443-4440.
Stop the presses. Eau Claire Children's Theater is bringing the Broadway smash hit musical Newsies to the Pablo Center RCU Theater. June 13th to the 15th, carry the banner with Jack Kelly and his ragtag Newsies as they band together and fight for what's right. Inspired by a true story, this show features memorable music, incredible dancing, and a timeless message for all ages. Seize the day and get your tickets now at pablocenter.org.
Has anyone told you how amazing your business website is? I didn't think so. Do you think it's just sort of Websticks has taken thousands of websites from to amazing, and you only pay for the help you need with blocks of time that never expire. It's kind of brilliant. Websticks. Find out more at websticks.com. That's websticks with an X.com.
Stunning
sites, more clicks, web support from Websticks.
Still looking for something for Dad this Father's Day? Stop by Fleet Farm and get him a gift he really wants at the best price guaranteed. Like Columbia apparel and footwear, now 25% off. Or get him a Wildview video trail cam for just $29.99. And what dad wouldn't love a Milwaukee M12 5-tool combo kit for under $200? For these and more last-minute Father's Day deals, stop by your local Fleet Farm or check out our latest weekly ad at fleetfarm.com.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Every regular season Friday home game at American Family Field, ticketed fans 21 and over who sit in the Miller Lite beer pen in the left field Lowe's bleachers will receive a free Brewers can holder, courtesy of Miller Lite and Leinenkugels. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org, insured by NCUA.
If you're looking for great deals and friendly service in Eau Claire, you've got to go check out Mike's Star Market. I've been shopping there for a while now because they always have fresh produce, quality meats, and everything that I need, all at the prices that won't break the bank. Mike, Sarah, and the entire staff are so helpful, and they've got so many different flavors of brats that I don't know if I can even try them all. For a local market that feels like home, head on over to Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire at 2238 Heimstead Road in Eau Claire.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
We know Father's Day is coming up this weekend, and right now our good friends from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire's got a Father's Day sale going on right now. You can check out their flyer on their Facebook page right now. If Dad is into some sweets, they've got some deals on some items in the bakery. Sweet cake looking over there, some cookies and such, or you can check out the meat department. They got some sales on some ribs, it looks like. Or you can check out the wine and spirits department over there, too. You should be able to find something for Dad over at Hy-Vee because they got everything. Or if they're a sports fan, you can check out their sports shop over there, too, and pick out some items that represent their favorite teams. And how about this? Spend $50 or more in participating gift cards, and you could save 30 cents per gallon at the pump. Yeah, go check. I mean, I'm looking at some of the gift cards here. I mean, like Fanatics, like Bella's, Bass Pro. I mean, I'd like that. Those type of gift cards. Heck yeah. So head on over to our good friends Hy-Vee in Eau Claire and check out the Dad's Day deals that are going on right now. All right, let's hey, maybe you could pick up some tailgate supplies over there if you're going to any of these games down in Milwaukee. And the Brewers will be wrapping up their 3-game series this afternoon with the Atlanta Braves. Brewers now in a position to win the series thanks to their win from last night. A 4-1 win for the Brewers, where Jackson Chourio getting a 2-run shot, Jake Bauers adding a home run as well, and a solid outing from Quinn Priester, who went 6 innings, giving up just 1 earned run, not issuing a walk, striking out 7, did give up 7 hits, but then Uribe coming in, pitching 2 innings of really good baseball, 1 K, 1 hit, and then Trevor McGill picking up his 13th save of the season, pitching in at 9th, not giving up a hit, and striking out 2. So Brewers bouncing back after a, fair to say, pretty sluggish offensive showing in the last few days outside of Saturday's win. So good to see the home run ball kind of come out here for the Brewers. And then, some nice defense play. Durbin, did you guys see that catch that Durbin had yesterday? Kind of going to the foul line. Dude, and then he got hit by a pitch again. Mentioned this on Monday. He's got 11 hit by pitches. And that's second most in the majors right now. And the guy didn't even start the regular season on the active roster for the Brewers. So, hey, anyway on, right? But that guy, he'll stay in there and take a hit and such. But, man, better him than me at this point. So, yeah, it's a couple of nice defensive plays as well to help secure the win. Joey Ortiz got a couple of hits. How about that? Brewers fans got to get excited about that. Maybe Ortiz kind of turning around. Maybe 4-game hitting streak right now for Joey Ortiz. Be nice if maybe he gets in a little bit of a groove that way and gets things going there. So, but the Brewers now with a shot to win this series this afternoon, and Chad Patrick's going to be on the mound for the Brewers. Chad Patrick, I don't think he'll get any Rookie of the Year chatter or such, but we could keep saying this until we're blue in the face. He has been the most consistent starting pitcher. Maybe you could probably make a case for Freddie in there too, but Chad Patrick has, I think, surpassed any expectations that we may have had as fans, or maybe even what the Brewers had as for Chad Patrick coming in here. I think he has surprised a lot of people with his level of play so far this year. And, we'll see if he can kind of continue that consistent play that he has shown throughout this season. Yeah, you look at the win-loss record. It's like, but he's 3-5. But he's 2.84 ERA. He has not given up more than 3 earned runs in any of his 13 games that he has started. He has appeared in 14 total and started 13 of those games. And April, he was absolutely fantastic with a 1.82 ERA in 5 games. In May, 3.32 ERA in 7 games. So he's coming off of a loss, got charged with a loss against the Padres. But again, 6 innings, 1 earned run. 1 earned run. And he gets charged with the loss. It's quality starts for Chad Patrick. So looking to see that continue. He's going to put, you would assume, based off everything that he has done so far this season, he's going to put the Brewers in a position to win the game. He's going to do that. Like, he's at least showed so far that he's not going to, put them in a deep hole or anything like that. Now, things could change. He could have one of those games and such, but consistently he has put his team in a position to where they can win these ball games. It's just, can he get that offensive support? Spencer Schwallenbach is going to be on the mound for the Braves. And so far this year, he is 4-4 with a 3.24 ERA. He's coming off of a no decision back on the 6th against the Giants, where he gave up 3 earned runs. Before that, he picked up a win against Boston, no earned runs. And again, it's one of those lines back on the 25th against the Padres. He went 7 strong innings and 2 earned runs and 11 strikeouts. But he got charged with a loss. So, this guy has been pretty darn consistent too for the Braves throughout this entire season. We mentioned the 4-4 record with a 3.24 ERA, but you break it down by month. May, 3.41 ERA. April, 3.41 ERA. So this is a guy too that's in his latest starts. Ever since May 8th, he has gone 6 or more innings in each of his starts. In fact, in April, only one time did he not go above 6 innings, and that was April 15th against Toronto, and that's when he went 4 2/3 and gave up 6 earned runs. So this is a guy that can eat up some innings and go deep into games. So we'll see if the Brewers can maybe try to get that pitch count up against him, be aggressive against him, and maybe even try to get to that bullpen a little bit earlier. So we'll see what this offense has in store for him. And when you look at the matchups and the lineups between these two pitchers and this Brewer staff, there's nothing. So a little bit of an unknown between both these lineups going up against Chad Patrick and Schwallenbach. So again, first pitch is going to be at 1:10. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior, and you can catch that at 105.1 FM, 790 AM. So outside of the win yesterday, before the game, it was reported that the Brewers would be calling up one of their top prospects, probably their best pitcher, or at least the pitcher with the biggest potential, Mr. Jacob Mizorowski, the 6'7" flamethrower. He's number 4 on Major League Pipeline's list of Milwaukee's top prospects, number 68 overall. But according to Adam McCulvey, 2 sources confirmed to MLB.com that he will start tomorrow's opener against the Cardinals. Now, the club hasn't officially announced anything as of yet, but there's a lot of excitement, a lot of intrigue with Jacob Mizorowski coming in here. If you've been kind of following along here and there for the last couple of years, this is a guy that brings the heat. 103-mile-an-hour fastball, and he can continue to hit triple digits deep into his games. It's not just, early on and then kind of tails off. This is a guy, back on May 15th, he touched 103 miles per hour in the 6th inning. And this is a guy who's been eating up some innings too, going 7 innings in that game. So I don't know if, as of right now, I would guess that I don't think it's going to be a full-on rest of the season. He's going to be with the Major League Ball Club as a starter. I right now I would say no, but we'll see. I mean, if he goes, just because you look at what Logan Henderson did so far this season, and he gets sent back down. It's the whole options game, right? I mean, it's the whole options game. Who's got the options? How can you adjust freely with your roster? So Pat Murphy, this was a little bit ago, but he said, talking about Mizorowski, said, could we have brought him here sooner than this year and put him in the bullpen? And does that stunt his growth as a starter? Those are the decisions you have to make based on the individual. But I think the intention was always that he would be a big league starter. So any thought about maybe potentially moving him to the bullpen for this year? I kind of thought, it wouldn't surprise me if they do, because I mean, that's a very typical Brewers way when you look back at how they've done it with some of their other starters. Brandon Woodruff was like that. Corbin Burns was like that. Freddie Peralta was like that, where they kind of got their first taste of consistent Major League Baseball play was coming out of the bullpen and such. But you listen to some of those comments, it's like maybe not. And right now, as McCulvey noted, the Brewers starting staff heading into yesterday's game ranked 2nd in the National League and 5th in the majors with a 3.35 ERA. So, I honestly, that little nugget surprised me a little bit. I think we all knew that they have been pitching incredibly well as of late, but to say that they have the 2nd best ERA in all of in the entire National League and the 5th all across Major League Baseball, considering all of the injuries that they have gone through and all the different guys that they have had to shuffle in there, that's pretty dang impressive. And that's a tip of the cap to the scouts, the front office, but Chris Hook and Jim Henderson and the pitching coach, pitching coach staff. Chris Hook being the pitching coach, Jim Henderson being the assistant pitching coach. That's a huge credit to those guys for getting these guys ready, getting these guys prepared, and putting them in a position to be successful. I don't know, right now too, it's not clear on who Mizorowski would be replacing at this point. So we'll see. On one hand, we know it's not going to be Freddie. It's not going to be Jose Quintana. I don't think it'll be Quinn Priester. I don't think it'll be Chad Patrick. I know there's some thought. I was at least seeing this online, and I don't know how much truth is like there, but it's like, oh, could he come up and then do that whole, Patrick's going to be sent down, but it's just to get a fresher arm up in the bullpen, or fresher arm up, excuse me, and then, he'll be back after a few days in that. I guess that's a possibility. But the one guy in here, you look at Aaron Savali, and as it's noted on MLB.com, he's averaged just 4 2/3 in innings in 4 starts since he was on the injured list. And apparently, according to MLB.com, Aaron Savali had a meeting with Pat Murphy on Tuesday after news broke of Jacob Misiorowski's pending promotion. Whether that means anything, I don't know. And then, you factor in Brandon Woodruff. Knock on wood right now. Eventually, we'll be getting back in the starting rotation at some point here in maybe the next couple of weeks or few weeks or so. So, I don't know if, you look at Aaron Savali, is that candidate to be released at DFA, designated for assignments, trade, put potentially in the works or whatever? I mean, is it going to be one of those mystery, injured list stints? Hey, we're going to throw him on the 15-day IL with shoulder tightness or arm fatigue, and then we get to promote Jacob Misiorowski. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen that how many times before in Major League Baseball, where it's like, oh, the mystery injury just to open up a roster spot there. Yeah, that makes total sense. Total sense. So we'll see. But again, is it the biggest need for the Brewers? No. But is there excitement? Is there intrigue? Heck yes. I can't wait to watch Misiorowski make his debut. Are we setting the bar high? Yes, we are. Are we putting probably a little too much pressure on his debut tomorrow? Heck yes, we are. But there is this excitement and there is this enthusiasm surrounding his debut that, I want to see that radar gun hit triple digits in, the 4th inning, 3rd inning, 5th inning, whatever it may be. I hope we get our first glimpses of a dominant pitcher for the Brewers for the foreseeable future. I mean, that's, I think, the expectation for a lot of fans and probably even within the Brewers organization. Is it fair right away because he hasn't made his debut? Probably not. But even though it's not the biggest need for this team right now, it's okay to have that excitement to see him go out there on the rubber tomorrow and pitch in his first major league game, and to get kind of our first glimpse of maybe what could be, hopefully, a very special and fun major league career for the Crew. So, all right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more. We'll switch gears up here a little bit. Talk a little green and gold to finish up the first hour. We'll be back after these quick words.
180!
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Warmer weather means more time on your feet. Make sure every step feels great. Whether it's running, walking, or working, proper support matters. The Shoe Doctor carries a wide selection of supportive shoes, custom insoles, and footwear solutions designed for comfort and performance. Stop in to find the right fit for spring and summer activities. The Shoe Doctor, helping feet feel their best season after season. Visit the Shoe Doctor today at 2321 East Claremont Avenue or online at shoedoctoreauclair.com, where comfort starts.
Grant here for Kai's Chevytown, just off exit 41 I-94 on the north side of Menominee. A short drive from anywhere. They helped put me in my new Malibu back in September. They've been helping folks with their vehicles for 3 generations, not just buy and sell their cars, but service them, keep them safe and reliable and on the road. That service department is the best in town, and it's because of the people, and they're looking to add to their team. Kai's service department is 18 service bays with about 1.5 bays per tech. So it's efficient and productive. You're always going to have work. There's never any lulls. You're never going to be standing around. Heated and air conditioned for year-round comfort. Kai's will guarantee your hours so you'll always have work. They'll match your 401k, health and dental, paid vacation. They'll pay to train and certify you in whatever you need. They're a family-run business. They have been for 3 generations, and they treat everyone on their team like family. So if you're looking for steady work with great benefits and great teammates, go online to learn more and apply. ChevyTownUSA.com. Be wise. See Kai's for the best buys.
The big focus in America today is on your health. And more people are looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hi, John Murphy here for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment, but now it's mainstream. And QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. Their well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now, 715-443-4440, 715-443-4440. That's 715-443-4440.
Still looking for something for Dad this Father's Day? Stop by Fleet Farm and get him a gift he really wants at the best price guaranteed. Like Columbia apparel and footwear, now 25% off. Or get him a Wildview video trail cam for just $29.99. And what dad wouldn't love a Milwaukee M12 5-tool combo kit for under $200? For these and more last-minute Father's Day deals, stop by your local Fleet Farm or check out our latest weekly ad at fleetfarm.com.
Do you have damage to your roof or exterior of your home or pole shed? Call the local experts. Call TF Exteriors now, 715-864-3876, your trusted partner for superior roofing solutions. Whatever you need done, locally owned and operated. Call TF Exteriors or go to tfexteriors.com. Free estimates, works with insurance, family owned, specializes in steel, siding, shingles, and gutters. That's tfexteriors.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card. Download the Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
More than the scores. More than the news. It's Sports Out the Squeaker. The Dan Kasper Show.
Time to update the floors in our home. Wife and I wanted to make sure that we did it right. So we went to where we knew we would be taken care of, and that's Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. From the moment you walk through the doors, you can tell the place is just a little bit different because there's no pushy salespeople, just a knowledgeable, friendly team that is ready to help you out. They really took the time to listen to what you want, to help maybe compare some options, and they'll show you different flooring that actually fits your style, your budget. And a massive selection, whether it's carpet, vinyl, luxury vinyl planks, tile, you name it. And if you're remodeling one room or your whole home, they've got you covered. And their install team is awesome as well. I mean, just getting it done on time, just super friendly. Everybody from when you walk into the store at Carpet City Flooring Center to the install team is so friendly, so awesome to work with. And again, if you are looking around your home, or maybe it's your office space, maybe if you're a boss, and you're like, you know what, we got to do a little updating here in the good old office here. Carpet City Flooring Center can help you out over there too. So head on in. If you're not quite sure what would work with your space, you're not quite sure, they can help you out. They that's what they did for me, for our house. That's what they've done for our building here, for Sports Talk 105.1 and our other stations here. So they can help you out over there too. Just go give them a visit. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. You will not be disappointed with the family-like team that's over there. So we got about 15 minutes to the top of the hour. Don't forget to hit us up with who's your stock risers, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. We'll talk a little green and gold here to wrap up the first hour. And again, reminder, ESPN.com's Rob Demovsky will be joining us at 8:30. So we'll get the experts' insights on the green and gold coming up at about 8:30 this morning. But yesterday, mandatory minicamp going on for the Pack, and got to hear a little bit from some players, Coach LaFleur, but also General Manager Brian Gutey, who was answering some questions the day after Jair Alexander officially being released. And if you see some of the comments, or maybe you were, watching some of the video clips from some of the reporters out there, it felt like maybe a little bit of frustration about Jair Alexander and his inability to stay healthy, I guess, at this point. So, I mean, there was a comment from Gutey yesterday, and this was a tweet from our good friend Rob, says, when asked why he wasn't willing to take the risk that Jair could stay healthy, Gutey said, quote, we've done that the past few years, and it hasn't really worked out for us. So, and then you kind of go through some of the other comments about, Jair from like Mark Murphy or such. And it's like, it just kind of paints the picture of maybe just a frustration level that, Jair just couldn't stay healthy. And they were ready to move on from that. And, just not willing to pay a lot of money for a player that's over the last couple of years, over the last few years, been on the field 50-50. So, Jair, maybe he will stay healthy this year for whatever team that he's going to be on, but Green Bay was not willing to take that risk at that price tag for this season. Gutey also doesn't sound like anybody, if you're really hoping that they make a move for Jalen Ramsey or whoever else is out there, doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. He's very high on Hobbs, who they signed to a contract in free agency, Keyshawn Nixon, and Carrington Valentine. So he's high on those top three. And he also said that he's intrigued to see some of the other younger corners fighting for the last couple of roster spots on there. Kalen King, by the way, who I know is a very popular name, he did not practice yesterday. Apparently his right forearm was in a cast. So, yeah, he's going to be missing some time. Maybe we'll get to training camp and he's going to be out there, but, we'll see. Packers did, and this is what's been like fireballing all over Packers social media, and that is Bo Melton taking reps at corner. And in my opinion, that is just kind of spiraled out of control with some of the reaction from fans on both sides. Like, I think some fans are taking this way, way too much to the heart. Like, oh, Green Bay's really going to have Bo Melton play corner, and he's going to be our new cornerback that's going to replace Jair Alexander. Oh, stop. Let's just take a step back and take a chill pill here a little bit. Who knows? It's June, for crying out loud. All right? It's June. I tend to look at it like, all right, Mountains towards the bottom of the depth chart at the wide receiver position. Romeo, Jaden, Golden, Savion Williams. Whenever Christian Watson's back, you throw in a little Malik Keith in there. McCole Harmon's over there. This to me looks like they're trying to find maybe a way to potentially keep him on the roster, or Bo Melton's trying to find a way to stay on the roster. He's got speed, and we know he's got a brother that plays the corner position. So a little bit of an experience there. We'll see. And Sam Shields was a converted wide receiver to corner. That happened mostly in college, though. So a little bit more of a practice time in that sense. But let's just pump the brakes here a little bit for anybody thinking, oh my God, Green Bay is really going to throw Bull Melton out there at corner for a game. Stop. It's June. And it's mini camp. All right. Let's slow the roll. Is it an intriguing one? Okay, maybe. Would I be surprised if he makes the team as kind of a bottom end corner / bottom end wide receiver, but maybe a special teams player? No, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case at all. And let's be real, if it came down to him and let's say Malik Keith for the final roster spot, Bull Melton might have a little bit of an advantage because if he's willing to do these different things, a little bit of versatility. It doesn't mean he's going to be a starter. It doesn't mean he's going to be the main backup. It just means okay, we got a guy maybe that could give us a little bit more versatility. That might make the difference in those final roster cutdowns when we get to end of August, September, before week 1. That's how I view it. And yeah, a lot of times when you're in the off season and you're in mini camp or you're in training camp and you got guys changing positions, it doesn't always tend to paint a good sign for their ability to stay on the team. So, but again, we'll see how it all plays out. I'm not that surprised that they're trying this out because of the depth at wide receiver now, and looking for ways for a bottom end roster guy try to still stay on the ball club. Some other comments yesterday from some of the players after practice. Obviously, Jair was a topic of discussion for some players and such, but Jordan Love said, quote, someone about Jair, someone who definitely believed in me from the get-go when I got my opportunity. It's tough to see him go. Tucker Kraft, I thought, had an interesting assessment of his season last year. This was according to Matt Schneidman. Quote, one thing I feel like I could have done better was separate in man-to-man. Most of my game was checkdowns underneath and yards after the catch ability, so I'm looking to put it all together. Yeah, I think we're all expecting Tucker Kraft to be a bigger part of the offense moving forward. I think we're all expecting Tucker Kraft to be a go-to target within this offense this year. Just how much more, how more involved are they going to be in the offense? That's going to be, remains to be seen how they're going to incorporate all that. Jordan Love also talking a little bit with the media and was asked about Matthew Golden. And again, this is from Matt Schneidman, says, quote, he's been looking good. I think from the get-go, from day one when he got here, he's showcased kind of just the versatility he has running routes, the speed he has, and his ability to catch. I think for him, every day he's been getting better, just understanding what he needs to do. You could tell the first couple of days there might be a couple routes here and there where he just might be thinking a little bit too much out there and not just going out there and playing fast, which is expected for someone who just got here and is learning the whole offense and everything. I think the faster he can pick up everything, which I think he's been doing a great job of understanding where he needs to be and just knowing that. But obviously, the more installs, the more offense we put in, it gets harder. The more he can stay locked in with all that, I think he's definitely going to be a playmaker for us. And I'm excited to see how far he can go. So Yeah, those are just a few comments from practice yesterday, and mentioned this a little bit earlier too. But the interesting part is that Gutey also said that they're going to be taking on all of Jair's dead cap hit this season instead of, which everybody kind of assumed it was going to be a post June 1st, where they had more salary cap space available this year. We're talking about like 40 some million dollars available in cap space. Green Bay has elected to take that dead cap hit all on this year. So what's kind of the difference here with Green Bay electing to take the dead cap hit, all the dead cap hit this year? Well, for one, not as much salary cap space available this year that was previously thought. But also it helps out their 2026 salary cap situation. It's kind of a wash in a sense where, let's say that they kept it with a post June 1st, where they had more salary cap space available this year. They could have rolled a lot of that over into next year to help out their 2026 cap situation. Because we know it's not the greatest. It's gotten better. It's definitely gotten better than what it was like a few months ago. But they could have rolled over some of the cap space that they had available this year into next year to help that out. So it's kind of a wash now. While you're taking that dead cap hit, Jair's going to be completely off the books for next year. So that helps the 2026 cap space in that sense. Whereas if they did the post June 1st, you'd still have a little bit of dead cap hit from Jair next year because you're splitting it up between this year and next year. But taking it all on this year, and then it's going to be completely off for next year. So in essence, if we just kind of factored in like a whole rollover into next year, it's a little bit of a wash. But at least puts themselves in a more healthy salary cap situation for 2026. And even with Jair's dead cap hit all on this year, they still save about $7 million, give or take a few thousand, with him not on the roster. If he was on the roster with his original contract, that cap hit would be higher than what it is right now with the dead cap hit that he's got going on there. So it still means that it's very possible that Green Bay could still do some extensions, whether it is a Zach Tom or a Quay Walker or whomever at this point. They still have some of that flexibility to potentially get an extension done and put some of that cap hit on this year. Whether they do that remains to be seen. I have to imagine, though, that they're probably wanting to get Quay and Zach Tom done. I think, but that's just my opinion. Because they have the ability to go out and ball out this year and that price tag skyrockets. Or they could get hurt this year, too, and then you're stuck kind of with the Jair Alexander situation. But, hey, that's the beauty of being a general manager in professional sports. You got to take that gamble. Got to take that risk, right? So we'll talk more green and gold a little bit later on. We'll get back to some more baseball talk as well with the Brewers looking for another series win this afternoon, going up against the Atlanta Braves before a big 4-game series at home against the Cardinals starting tomorrow with Jacob Mizorowski slated, it sounds like, to get the start. We got a couple minutes left. We'll say good morning to Morgs. Good morning.
What's a good word, Kasper?
I got nothing.
Who did Aaron Rodgers marry? You're a drama queen.
I have no idea. I think at one time, a couple months ago, in an interview, he name dropped somebody named Brittany.
Okay.
So I think.
I thought maybe you knew because you're kind of a sleuth.
No.
You'll go splunking for details.
I'm a very good
sleuth.
Because our boss said I was pretty good at that.
You're going online. You like to troll.
I like to invest. No, it's not troll. Investigate.
You can go down the rabbit holes.
I like to investigate.
What is there a crown jewel of your sleuth and amateur sleuth life that you would be like, you know what, I found this out and I'm pretty proud of this. I did my own online splunking.
No, but you watch these true crime docs and I'm like, I could do that. I could solve a crime.
If there's anybody that I would point them to, it would be you. I'd be like, go ask that guy. You seem like the type to do it.
I would love to do that.
So
I want to solve a mystery.
Why not like PI work or something like
I think that would be awesome.
Oh, would that be like a secondary career?
When
if
we
not
were,
sports?
remember in middle school or school, we would have to take those tests that would tell you what job you should do.
Oh, like an aptitude test or
My 8th grade one said, I'm not kidding, special agent.
I believe it. You do have that kind of inspector go gadget look to you.
I want to solve mysteries.
Okay. Like murder and crime or
Or in paranormal. I want to be Robert Stack.
So speaking of the unsolved mysteries angle, have you seen any good, like, do you prefer the podcast or the TV?
TV.
Oh, you're into that kind of thing more. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the latest good one then? Anybody like a good true crime doc?
I'm trying to get into this Tylenol one that's on Netflix. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's something about in the 80s, like somebody like
poison Tylenol, and then so nobody could take it. That's why there's cotton and all of these like impossible locks on the top of bottles now. Yeah, because one person, was it arsenic, I think?
Yeah. So I started watching that one a little bit, but
was it interesting?
It's okay, but I'm kind of in my history zone right now, so I'm watching Kevin Costner's The West on History Channel.
Okay, speaking of, I'll geek out on history with you for a second. I'm reading right now a really good book. It's called A Nothing Like It in the World, about the building of the Transcontinental Railroad. When men were men, oh my gosh, you cannot imagine the process to build, especially through the Sierra Nevada and stuff. The conditions that people were working under is insane right now.
I can't imagine.
No. You can't even wrap your head around it. So, and I like trains, so I'm diving into history a little bit here too. Okay, couple questions. Yesterday we did the biggest top 10 pet peeve list. We didn't make it down the other side quite as much, so I'll give you 2 more. Cracking gum.
Nah, that'll bother me.
Slow walkers.
Yes.
So
Bobby, 5.
Well, you 5 out of 10.
YY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's your news done differently with Morgan McCarthy.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. We start with a gavel drop in a case we had talked about this week, now coming in with a guilty verdict for the defendant charged in the killing of a man 6 years ago in La Crosse. 45-year-old Anquin St. Junius has been convicted in the killing of Virgil Stewart. Prosecutors say St. Junius fatally stabbed Stewart at a location in January of 2019. Jurors have found the defendant guilty of second-degree reckless homicide. Well, here locally, Eau Claire first responders were called into action. This happened Tuesday morning as there were reports of somebody struggling on the Chippewa River yesterday. A firefighter went into the water, rescued the man. It was between Lake Street and Water Street bridges, so that area in the water. There's been no word on how he came to be in that water in the first place, but again, that rescue is success. Details online from the Eau Claire Fire Department at 715newsroom.com. Well, the man who was the recent subject of a manhunt in Eau Claire appeared in court this week. Leo Lacey is charged with crimes that include hit and run, intentionally pointing a firearm at a person, theft of property, and false imprisonment. At a preliminary hearing yesterday, Lacey stated that he has been unable to secure a lawyer. The court is allowing him more time to do so, and next appearance for him is scheduled later this month. Was the Dairyland a cash cow? When it comes to tourism, new records were set. The Wisconsin Department of Tourism announced a third consecutive record-breaking year. We'll look at some state numbers as they were released from Governor Tony Evers' office. Here in Wisconsin, we generated $25.8 billion in total economic impact from tourism in 2024, which was rolling past that $25 billion we saw in 2023, and that includes locally. Eau Claire and Chippewa is saying the same thing, echoing the statement that tourism is hitting record levels. I mean, let's face it, it is pretty nice to live around this area. Can you blame people for wanting to come here? And not too far from us in Paisley Park, the Prince Estate is hinting about plans for reissuing 2 80s era albums. If you're a fan of Prince, might be something you want to listen to. Get your little red Corvette ready to cruise.
In an announcement over the weekend, Lundell McMillan of the Prince Legacy said a boxed edition of 1985's Around the World in a Day is on the way. According to the Purple Stream, he also noted that fans will see a release that involves the 1986 album Parade. McMillan didn't reveal exactly when fans could expect the reissues. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And if you've seen the man cave, you know that Casper has the Packers decorations. A big fan, like most of us are, but every once in a while you have a stray Vikings fan in your life. And we were kicking around ideas what you can call those tiers when they begin about mid-season for the Vikings fans. And Casper said we should call it
the Purple Stream.
Not bad for Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
The midweek is starting off on a dry note as temperatures are mild in the 50s and 60s across the area. As we head through today, do expect a mix of sun and clouds, a slight chance of a few late day showers, highs in the upper 70s. As for tonight, we'll continue with chances at a few showers, partly cloudy, a low of 54. And then tomorrow, another chance of showers, partly to mostly cloudy, 73, with more rain Friday. On 13 First Alert, meteorologist Derek Dahlman.
If your home's exterior sustained damage in the recent storms, Walker Roofing and the reliable crew can help. Walker Roofing takes the hassle out of the insurance claim process. Walker Roofing has you covered. WalkerRoofing.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports aficionados and armchair quarterbacks, welcome to the Dan Kasper Show, where sports passion meets expert analysis. Dan's encyclopedic knowledge and infectious passion for all things sports is both impressive and sad.
I have many leather-bound books.
So get ready to laugh, cheer, and maybe even facepalm a few times.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
It's the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, here we go. Second hour that kicks off right now on this Wednesday morning. If you're already up and at it, hopefully you're all off to a absolutely fantastic start. Coming up at about 8:30, ESPN.com's Rob Demovsky will be joining us, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on at mandatory minicamp and the Jair Alexander situation in Green Bay. So good to be catching up with Rob. Also noted UW Eau Claire men's basketball fan, Rob Demovsky. So we'll chat with him coming up in a little less than an hour and a half. We've got stock reports also. So chime in with what your stock report is. Stock rise or stock faller? Spit it out, Dan. I'm got a little brain fog this morning. So whose stock is rising?
Or Dan Kasper's enunciation at the moment.
Yep, exactly. So whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling? You can hit us up on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with a quick text at 715-830-1912 or hit us up on the socials and such. Hey, don't forget we are less than 2 months away now from the 5th annual Kasper Classic. Got a little guy coming in here now too, so hold on a second. Luke, do a little talking.
Yeah. The Kasper Classic is coming up on August 1st. That is a Friday, as always. Lake Hallie Golf Course. Tee times 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 sessions, shotgun start. Sign up early to get your slots when you can. Hopefully weather will be good once again for the Kasper. This is, by the way, the 5th annual edition of the Kasper Classic, the 5th annual two-man scramble. $90 per team. Or if you just want to do it individually, you can't put together a team. It's $45 a person, 9 holes of golf, card 2 drinks, tickets per person, and lunch. Stock follower my enunciation right now. So go ahead, get signed up. If there's more information, you can get it at sportstalk1051.com, 715store.com specifically. You can jump right there, 715store.com. Get registered right there for the two-man scramble, the Kasper Classic.
Thank
up
you
on August 1st.
for doing that.
You're welcome.
Kid can't find something. It's all panicky then. So
yeah,
got to figure that out. So you know it. You know how that goes.
Like, okay, well, we'll do this now. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So, but no, big thanks for that. Appreciate that. So, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm trying to figure out what kind of tick I saw yesterday. Right now.
What?
Yeah, there are a lot of ticks out there.
Like on you?
Well, it wasn't. It actually wasn't
or
on
your daughter.
It wasn't on. Okay, you want something freaky? So, she had a cold about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and of course, being a 4-year-old, mucus gets all over the face. It happens. And there's one I'm like, oh my gosh, you got something on your eye. Let's sucks. And I'm trying to wipe it off, and it's not. I'm like, well, fine, I'll get around to it eventually. Next day, we're going on a walk. I look down at her. I'm like, that snot's getting bigger. What the? It's a tick. It was not snot. It was a tick on her eyelashes embedded in her eyelid.
Oh, no.
Yes. It's like the horror thing that was happening. So we're like, okay, this is going to be a horrible evening trying to get this out. And I'm like looking up stuff, and they're like, rotate, and you need general anesthesia. I'm like, oh gosh. So lay her down on the bed. I'm like holding her down. My wife brings in the tweezers and actually just, whoop,
Oh,
no
you're
reaction.
lucky.
We are, oh my gosh. It was like the best night of the last month after that. You're like, phew, and no symptoms that I can tell so far. So, I'm trying to figure out, was this a wood tick or a deer tick?
Yeah.
I know they're both around. So, but I've seen other ticks around a little bit more of late, and we thought, well, is my daughter just like a tick magnet? But the funny thing is, last night, a bunch of us neighbors were chatting because everyone's walking their dogs, and Emmy's playing with the dogs and everything. And I overheard a couple of them go, "Are there more ticks around this year? So is that more of a thing?"
It's the time of year too,
Yeah,
though. So,
okay.
but it's I have a tick story.
Do
I was
tell.
in tick stories. I was in eighth grade. I would say eighth grade basketball because I was it was basketball season. Went bow hunting on a weekend, and it was like that Sunday before next day school. Grandma was giving me a haircut. She found a tick embedded in the back of my head. I actually had to go to the ER because it was so far in.
Ugh.
And they had to like numb it and then like shave a circle around. So I just remember playing basketball, and I had this big bald circled shave spot in the back of my head. And I just kept thinking, like, what is everybody thinking when they see that when I'm playing basketball? These other teams and such. And it's like, yeah. So
This is like a variation of like Scottie Pippen shaves his head, and he's got like the ripples going up there.
Yeah.
And like, what are people going to think? I mean, sure, he was fine with that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, mine was so far in, they had to like numb it. And I could still kind of, when it's numb, you can still like feel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they had to like dig it out. And I just remember playing basketball, like embarrassed. I had this big circled bald spot, literally right in the back, not on top, right in the back where the neck goes. So, yeah.
And you can't see it. There's
No,
nothing
I
you can
can't
do
see
about
it.
it. You can't cover it up.
I think I tried wearing a headband to cover it up, and I'm like, no, that ain't working. I'm not a headband guy. I can't do it.
And you'd have to
No.
like what? If I'm thinking right, like you'd have to pull it down further so it wouldn't
Yeah,
it
'cause
wouldn't
it's-
look good anyway.
Yeah, it would be like really high on the forehead and stretched far down there. Like,
Then everyone's making fun of you. You're like, what do you do with your headband? Take it off. Oh my god! Like you
Yeah.
lose either way.
Yeah.
You would have had to have shaved your head. Try to be like, oh, I'm going to be like the Fab Five or something.
Yeah, and let's face it, eighth grade, I was wearing glasses too, so headband and me being tall and lanky, not a good look.
Brutal.
Not a good look.
Okay.
And you're probably set up to be making fun of. But you know what? I dominated you on the court, so that's okay.
More importantly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So C-Bomb says that I got to take golfing in Mondovi this weekend. Hey, thanks for the golf invite. Which tells me one thing. I play out of the woods too often. So
okay.
Fair
point.
Surveyor would know. He's out there all the time. He says wood ticks are bigger and more red. No need to worry about diseases.
Right.
Deer tick is a smaller tick with a red dot on the bum. Most are safe. Some can carry Lyme disease. The tiny black ones we call bear ticks. Those are the ones that carry Lyme disease. If there's a red circle a day or two after, go get it checked out. Otherwise, you will be fine.
Okay. Did not see. Well, I haven't like looked really closely at her eyelid, but I think.
Yeah,
we're
the
good on
circle part is
that.
a good note to remember when it comes to that. So yes, as he sent the GIF, the more you know.
Okay, very good. Because what happened last night, I was like, okay, I'm going to identify this as at the playground, and lo and behold, there's a tick running around. I'm like, you know what? All right, I'm taking a close-in photo, and I'm trying to figure out what it is right now. And obviously, that thing is scurrying around. So,
yeah, I think a lot of our listeners probably have had experience with hunting, and or in C-Bomb's case, hitting golf balls out of the woods. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Someone's not going to Oakmont this weekend. Let's just say.
See, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. How many people actually realize it's U.S. Open?
The biggest clue I had was listening to SV Pod, and they have on Gordo. For those who listen to the pod, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, he's like their their gambling golf guy that they bring on. He does the double hammer. It's like his signature thing. And I'm like, oh, I know it's June, so of course it's going to be the U.S. Open, but that's this weekend? Google it. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's in like 2 days. But I forgot.
The only thing that really I've seen any talk about it leading up to it is the rough. That's the only thing that's been like the common talking point has been like, look how deep this is. And I feel like that's almost every couple of years with the U.S. Open.
Well, right, because they're always difficult courses. Well, and I was reading something this morning about how we're in the early part of the, what do they call them? Not the anchor sites that the U.S. Open is going to do. So Oakmont, what was the one Piedmont number 2?
Hazeltine?
No.
Hazeltine's not on there?
No, because the U.S. Open prefers to go like more coastal, I believe. I'm trying to remember what the logic was. Why, like
PGA, Pinehurst probably then?
Yeah, in North Carolina.
Yeah, Pinehurst.
Last year's.
Yep. Pebble Beach.
That's the big one. But that they're getting multiples now, and that it wasn't said this way. But my first thought was, oh, this is akin to the Open. They always go to the old course, certain ones over there.
St. Andrews, yeah.
And I mean, obviously, there's not as much land to cover, so you have fewer really good courses just because of where they're at. But still, it's not a bad concept.
Is this bad for golf though? That everybody knows when the Masters is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets geeked up about the Masters. Is this bad for golf when the next 3 major championships, people are kind of like, oh, that's coming up? I mean, it's almost a little bit like NASCAR Daytona 500 where you begin with your biggest race. It's just golf has 3 more majors afterwards with it.
Yeah. This year in particular, and I don't really know why. I guess I could try to assess what's the rest of the sports landscape right now, and I don't think it's particularly heavy one way. I mean, I know we're in the midst of the Stanley Cup final and the NBA finals, but it doesn't feel like we're dealing with a whole lot of other stuff right now. I mean, I guess someone could try to tie this to a Scotty Scheffler's boring thing, but
that's kind of where if Rory had won the PGA, then is it talked about more? Because then he'd be winning the first 2 majors.
Yeah,
I think it would be.
I wonder if someone like Bryson DeChambeau had won, and then there's the hot takes, obviously, because it's Bryson and what's he gonna do, stuff like that.
Because it's not even like U.S. Open and Live. Like you can't have a Live guy win the U.S. Open. Remember that the first time? Like you can't allow that.
That's
that is God so far away now. Like
it's quiet.
Yeah. And I had seen somebody make the case too, and I thought this was an interesting one. DeChambeau is the only Live player that might have grown in popularity on the PGA Tour once he moved to Live.
That's an interesting point. Like the others, like they're there.
Rahm's actually gotten worse.
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka, has he done anything?
No.
You know.
Interesting you say that, because I was listening to the Simmons pod last night. He had on Chuck Klosterman. They do their big like expounding on all of that. And at one point they talked about this International Basketball League. Simmons keeps hearing like there's some big money folks that want to make this happen, and kind of like an F1 style thing where you'd go for like 10 days in a certain market around the world, like what F1 does, Formula 1 does. But then they would draw over. This wouldn't be like SGA, Anthony Edwards, the biggest stars in the upcoming. This would be like LeBron right now, Kevin Durant, maybe right now, fading, but they still can play. And they'd go for the big payday, maybe get some equity, all of that. As they're talking about, could this happen? What would that mean for the NBA, et cetera, back and forth? He mentioned Live and how Live is a bigger deal internationally. But in the States, it doesn't really seem to move the meter. I mean, maybe some of us are more traditional because we're used to the PGA, and the PGA is an American thing, ultimately. Professional golfers of America. But it feels like even the lesser PGA tournaments are still a bigger deal than Live. I think that's because of how we're used to the way those tournaments are played. The Live thing is done differently. And he was then expanding that to this International Basketball League of This is really more for an international audience. This isn't necessarily a death knell competitor to the NBA. It would hurt the NBA, but domestically, I think we care more about the NBA because of that structure, what we're used to.
That or it's ours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's ours.
It's our thing.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, something has to be really good for us to care more about something else. Soccer's done that because MLS hasn't gotten to the level of the Premier League and the other European leagues, etc. Be really curious if it ever does get there. Don't know, but like in maybe 40. Okay, let's be real. It's never going to top the Premier League. That's like asking for some other country's basketball league to ever top the NBA. It's not going to happen. But I do wonder 40, 50 years from now, does it get to a point where there could be a flip?
Yeah.
And we care more about MLS, another generations that haven't been born. Maybe so. That's an interesting point. But Liv, and as Bill Simmons said, like he asked the golfers, yeah, they'd do it again because of all the money they got, the perks, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But fans don't really seem to care that much.
No.
Broader golf fans, I couldn't tell you about Liv's rankings or standings.
Oh, no, I don't know who won a Liv tournament.
No.
I couldn't tell you.
And my default when we're leading into a major, if I want to figure out who's going to win, is okay, who's been doing well in the other PGA tournaments that have been happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So
it's just not that much of a thing.
It's not really anymore. And when I read that, I'm like, I would agree with it that DeChambeau has gotten more popular. I will admit I didn't like him initially. The whole Brooks versus DeChambeau sort of rivalry that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think what kind of started to turn the page was actually when DeChambeau was golfing with Rodgers and Brady in that foursome.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to see his personality a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've gotten to see it more and more. Yes, he's weird in some of his comments. Like, what was it after the which tournament was it after the PGA where he talked about, yeah, they got to create a ball that doesn't spin so much or some stupid thing like that, or like, yeah, we all, like us not even scratch golfers, us crappy golfers like myself would love that too, but he makes some goofy stuff like that. But I've changed I've been a 180. Like, I enjoy watching the guy now.
Yeah.
I sit there and watch him trying to putt, and I feel like he's going to break the handle off his putter because he looks like he's just gripping it so hard, and he looks so stiff with his putt. It's like, yeah, I've done a 180 on him. I know not everybody has, but I have.
He's probably would we call him the second most popular golfer in terms of like a fan base?
Yeah, him and Rory, I think right now are top two.
Which worked out perfectly at the Masters this year.
Yep.
I mean, there's probably more of a broader acceptance of, it almost sounds like a bad way of putting it, but an acceptance of Scheffler. I'm not sure how many fans you have, but a lot of people like him, and it's broader based, I'm sure.
I was trying to think of a comparison to Scheffler. I don't know why this name popped up in my head. Ray Allen. Good. Really good. But like no personality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just very kind of quiet. Yes, Ray Allen did acting. He got game and all that. But, I mean, you think about it, like Ray Allen, was he ever, like, exuberant? I mean, even with Boston, it was Paul Pierce, KG, even Rajon Rondo.
There was, he was the, I mean, to use another example, he was like the mid-range fundamental.
Yeah.
Or
like a Tim Duncan. Yeah. It's
Same
Ray
kind
Allen
of
as
thing.
Tim Duncan. That's Scotty Scheffler.
Like when Scheffler showed some, we always say this, he showed some emotion at the PGA Championship and dropping like F-bombs, stuff like that. But that became a thing where you wouldn't ordinarily hear that about any other golfer. I think there was a bit of a thing about golfers in general who were doing more of that at the PGA, but that's because of the way that course was going and the way the weather was, all of that. That's different to hear someone go, wow, he can get angry. Who else do you hear that about? But you hear that every so often. Like, again, if Duncan or Allen did that, it was a little bit of a surprise because it's out of form for them. You don't get that with Scotty Scheffler.
No. And I think it's just even makes it more weird that a couple of years ago was the whole jail incident. Like, of all, it's Scotty Scheffler.
In retrospect, that was so odd.
Yeah. I mean,
name a golfer who's been arrested in the last 5 years.
Right.
Scotty Scheffler would be last on the list, and is he the only higher, not even high, but higher profile golfer who has been arrested in the last 5 years? Albeit under the circumstances are clearly like an asterisk on it. But
I don't think Tiger has. Not in 5.
in the last 5. Side note, that's a really sad thing to say. Who would have thought if you went back 25 years and said that about Tiger Woods, what would your reaction have been that, people are joking that, in the last 5 he hasn't been arrested? You'd be like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, I can't think of anyone who's, again, of prominence.
That's the.
I think there have been other.
Word.
I'm sure I've heard of something, but that happens in any sport anywhere. But one where it's like even a casual sports fan would know who they are, and I don't think anyone was.
Right.
Again, it's the circumstances, so it's more comical than wow, there's something wrong with Scotty Scheffler, because clearly that did not affect his image getting arrested in that in that early morning situation.
Exactly. So. All right, we'll take a quick break. We're going to talk a little more green and gold. Plus, we got to get back to some more baseball talk as well with the Brewers looking for another series win. Quick break. We'll be back after these few words.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
For all of your grocery needs, just head to Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. They offer fresh produce, quality meats, and a wide selection of everyday essentials, all in one convenient location. And now with summer here, you need to load up on more snacks for the kiddos, or maybe some quick meals for all of your running around you have to do. Well, hey, Hy-Vee has you covered there too. Plus, their staff is so friendly and ready to help, making your shopping experience easy and pleasant. So when it comes to your shopping, shop smart. Shop Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Hey everyone, Dan Kasper here, and I gotta tell you, I've been spending a lot of time at the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire, and honestly, it's one of the best spots around. Whether you're looking for a friendly place to relax, catch a game, or enjoy great food and drinks, they've got you covered. The atmosphere is welcoming, the people are awesome, and the events are always a good time. It's the kind of place where you feel like you belong right away. If you haven't checked out VFW Post 305 on Star Avenue, I highly recommend you do. It's quickly become my go-to spot in Eau Claire.
Get ready to save with half-off deals. A great way for you to get goods and services that you will love and you don't have to pay full price. Be sure to check out all the great savings that half-off deals have to offer. There's something for everyone, so be sure to see for yourself. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please. Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours. Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours. Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people are looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hi, John Murphy here for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment, but now it's mainstream, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. Their well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now, 715-443-4440, 715-443-4440. That's 715-443-4440.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
If your car needs auto work this summer, especially if you're getting ready to maybe make some summer road trips with the families and such, then make your appointment with AJM Automotive in Eau Claire. Whether it's simply for an oil change, or maybe you need to get some new tires before you head out on the road, or maybe it's some brake work and such, AJM Automotive can help you out. Just give them a call today at 715-835-9523 to set up your appointment. They're honest, reliable, and always get the job done right, whether it's a routine maintenance or possibly even something bigger. Don't forget too, they also offer towing services, and they're kind of like a utility knife. They can fix a bunch of different things. I've seen them on Facebook where they're fixing up trailers. I mean, lawn mowing season, they can tune up and get your small engine work done over there too. So it's a very talented crew and an awesome crew at AJM Automotive in Eau Claire, also a partner of ours for the 5th annual Kasper Classic coming up on Friday, August 1st. We'll talk a little more green and gold this morning. Packers in the middle of their mandatory minicamp. Day one was yesterday. We heard from Gutey, LaFleur, some of the players, including Jordan Love, etc. And obviously a big topic of conversation the last couple of days has been Jair Alexander, who was officially released by the Packers. And we'll talk a little bit more about this. Joe, your reaction when you found the news that the Packers, in fact, were going to release Jair Alexander and he would not be returning on a restructured deal.
Yeah, well, I think the Packers beat writers had it right all along, and even back right after the season ended, a lot of the guys closest to 1265, I think, nailed it and said that regardless of what was reported from some of the national media, the likelihood of Jair coming back, not good. Now, again, a disappointment, absolutely, and I think you even heard that in Gutey's presser. Again, this was Gutey's first draft choice. And so I don't think you look at it and say, well, I want to get rid of this guy, but the facts are the facts, and he just could not stay healthy. And I think it sounds like his camp wasn't up for a restructure. So at that point, it was inevitable. And of course, I think Green Bay looking at the cap next year and saying, okay, we've got to do something, because apparently the contract offer that Green Bay offered Jair, the restructured deal, was a lower base salary with playing incentives and then making him a free agent after this year. But I think Jair's camp saying they could probably get a better deal. They're probably looking for more of a longer term deal from his new team. So it's an unfortunate situation, but the bottom line is availability is the best ability that you can have in the NFL, and Jair just has not been available.
So looking at the top three corners right now with Keyshawn, Carrington, and the newcomer Hobbs, where's your confidence level with those top three corners?
With the top three, the confidence level is good. I feel good about the top three. Where it gets scary, though, is in the depth. because then you start looking at Micah Robinson and Gregory Jr. and Isaiah Dunn and guys like that. So I think if I'm Gutey, I'm looking at the wire right now for opportunities to upgrade the depth, because one of those guys, Hobbs or Nixon or Valentine, they're going to miss time. And so, you don't want to have a mid-season matchup or a late-season matchup where you've got an injury to take care of, and you're throwing Isaiah Dunn in there. And so, again, I think that's where it gets scary. If you're telling me that Hobbs and Nixon and Valentine are going to play the majority of the snaps, I don't feel horrible about that. But if you're telling me that we're going to stick with the depth that we have, then I do look at this and say something needs to be done. And I think something will be done. I do think that Gutey's going to look out and make some type of a move to fortify some depth there to give Green Bay more of that comfort zone.
So, I mean, do you have a name in mind? I mean, Rasul Douglas is out there, but I mean, he looks like his age and speed. I mean, everybody wants Asante Samuel, but he can't play man versus man, and he had neck surgery just a couple months ago, which is that infamous neck surgery. So, I mean, is there anybody out there that you had your eye on?
The easy one is obviously Rasul Douglas, and so I think you look at it and you say, okay, could there be a reunion there? And I think absolutely, and I think especially if you're looking at it from a depth standpoint. So the reason that guys are still free agents right now is because there's a reason for it. Whether it be the injuries, whether it be a non-productive play, just whatever the case may be. I mean, there's some names still out there, but again, they're out there for a reason. But just looking at it from a standpoint of this defense, and looking at what Rasul Douglas brought to the table and where he specializes, you're gonna have a lot of zone with a Jeff Hafley defense, and so I think Rasul Douglas makes the most sense. I think there's some bigger names out there and some younger guys, but I just think he makes the most sense, especially if you're looking at from a depth standpoint. And like you said, Asante Samuel, people have talked about Jalen Ramsey. There's a lot of other names out there, but in my opinion, the best fit right now, when you look at style of play, I really do think it's Rasul Douglas.
Joe, who's the biggest from a playing standpoint on this team? Who's the biggest enigma player? The player that you just can't quite figure out why maybe it's not clicking for him, or the biggest confusing type of player. Like it's because NFL.com had a list out there of the top 7 most enigma players in across the league, and Quay Walker was on that list, and I probably would agree with putting Quay Walker on there. Is there a different player that you would put on there, or is it Quay Walker in your opinion?
You know what? I'm going to stay with a Georgia Bulldog. I'm going to go Devontae Wyatt because he's one of those guys that you look at and you're like, this guy should be a very, very consistent, dominant NFL player, and he just hasn't. And again, don't get me wrong, he's shown flashes, and that's I think why he becomes that enigma, because he has shown flashes, but he hasn't put it together consistently. So, you look at those two guys, Walker and Wyatt. And first of all, if Green Bay is going to make a run this year, and a serious run, and a playoff run, and be a Super Bowl contender, you've got to have those guys contributing at a high level. And look, Gutey talked about the fact that Green Bay is probably going to eat up some of that salary cap that they gained from Jair Alexander from some types of signings here still in 2025. And you've got both Wyatt and you've got Walker that you could extend. And so I think they're both enigmas. With Walker, one of the questions is, has he been miscast as that middle linebacker, that Mike linebacker? So when you look at him, playing that off the ball linebacker a little bit more and moving Edgerrin Cooper more into that middle, maybe now you're going to see Quay Walker reach his potential. But when you look at pressure rate, Devontae Wyatt is one of the best Green Bay Packers from a pressure rate standpoint. That being said, he just has not been able to put it together consistently, game in, game out.
So with the newfound salary cap space, it's about $7 million available for this year since they're taking the whole dead cap hit for Jair for this year. Who's priority number one to get an extension done for this season?
I think Zach Tom. I think he still is the number one priority, and I think it's interesting too that he's showing up to everything. Now Elton Jenkins is there; he's just not participating, and that tells me that in my opinion that a good faith attempt at getting some type of middle ground deal done. But I think there's no question Zach Tom needs to be done. I think we talked about Walker. We talked about Wyatt. Another interesting one is what do you do with Christian Watson moving forward? He's been mentioned as someone that do you give him a bump and do you take a chance on the upside there? And then obviously, like we talked about, the Elton Jenkins possible restructure. But I think there's no question when you look at the list, Zach Tom becomes priority number one. And I think that deal does get done. I think that deal gets done. And I think whatever Green Bay can do to alleviate some of the cap hit from some of these signings next year and get it done this year, it's going to be a tremendous, tremendous asset and a tremendous advantage for Green Bay to do that.
To kind of wrap it up, Joe, I know everybody was kind of freaking out that Bo Melton was working out at cornerback yesterday, and some fans, I think, taking it a little bit too serious with him working out over there. Thinking, I think some fans fully think Green Bay thinks that he's going to be like a top 3 corner on their depth chart or whatever, for crying out loud. So, but I look at it as like it makes sense. I mean, he's at the bottom of the depth chart. Why not try to do a little versatility showcase? Because if it comes down to maybe him or Malik Heath making this roster, they're probably going to go with Bo Melton if he shows a little bit of versatility. But I mean, we don't really have any high expectations of him playing corner for this team anytime soon, right?
But you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he does make this team. It wouldn't surprise me that he does get some reps at corner. And look, a couple of different things there. You look at the raw athleticism of Bo Melton. That's the first thing you look at. You look at the fact that he's played gunner on special teams, and he's played gunner on that punt team very, very well. And then you look at, and again, is this fair or unfair, or is this right to do? But you look at his brother, who's the starting cornerback for, I believe, the Cardinals now, and so most of these guys, and you go back to Sam Shields, and you go back to the fact that he played wide receiver pretty much his whole college career. Green Bay brings him in as an undrafted free agent, and he contributes. And so when you've got that athleticism, and again, am I going to say Bo Melton is the answer to Jair Alexander leaving? Absolutely not. But if Bo Melton is a key special teamer and he can play in some dime and he's not hurting you, and again, with that raw athleticism, and I always go back to Sam Shields, but when you can run 4-3 and you've got 10-yard splits at 1-5, and verticals around 38, 39, 40. You've got that explosiveness, and again that makes it easier to make that transition. And Bo Melton is not moving to cornerback; he is now working out on both sides of the ball. He is working out in the defensive secondary, and he's also getting reps at the wide receiver position. So, yeah, is that the answer? No. But if you're saying Bo Melton at the bottom of the roster is your sixth or seventh or eighth defensive back and your sixth or seventh wide receiver, but he's one of the guys on special teams that brings it, then you see some value there. So, and this is again, I don't think this was in reaction or response to Jair Alexander. This is probably something discussed for a while behind the scenes at 1265, and now we're seeing it because we're seeing things open to the media. So I don't mind it at all. Is it the answer? Absolutely not. But again, you can only have so many athletes on a team, and when you got a guy like that, and you look at his RAS and all of these types of things, you're like, all right, let's give it a shot. And so I think it's worth a shot. We'll see where it goes. But again, what you see from a gunner gives you the propensity to say, yeah, this guy might be able to do it over there. So it's worth a shot. Again, I still think Green Bay needs to make some moves from a depth standpoint, and I do think they will.
Joe, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the rest of your week, sir, and we'll catch up with you again next week, okay?
All right, brother. Take care, man.
You got it. There you go. There's Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning. We got to take a quick break, and then we'll wrap up the second hour. Got a little baseball talk coming at you. Don't forget stock reports, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. We'll hit that up as well. Stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
If you're looking for great deals and friendly service in Eau Claire, you've got to go check out Mike's Star Market. I've been shopping there for a while now because they always have fresh produce, quality meats, and everything that I need, all at the prices that won't break the bank. Mike, Sarah, and the entire staff are so helpful, and they've got so many different flavors of brats that I don't know if I can even try them all. For a local market that feels like home, head on over to Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire at 2238 Heimstead Road in Eau Claire.
Warmer weather means more time on your feet. Make sure every step feels great. Whether it's running, walking, or working, proper support matters. The Shoe Doctor carries a wide selection of supportive shoes, custom insoles, and footwear solutions designed for comfort and performance. Stop in to find the right fit for spring and summer activities. The Shoe Doctor, helping feet feel their best season after season. Visit the Shoe Doctor today at 2321 East Claremont Avenue or online at shoedoctoreauclair.com, where comfort starts.
Stop the presses. Eau Claire Children's Theater is bringing the Broadway smash hit musical Newsies to the Pablo Center RCU Theater. June 13th to the 15th, carry the banner with Jack Kelly and his ragtag Newsies as they band together and fight for what's right. Inspired by a true story, this show features memorable music, incredible dancing, and a timeless message for all ages. Seize the day and get your tickets now at pablocenter.org.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
We all live on the same planet, but on different continents, countries, states, counties, cities, villages, and then our backyards. We take the world and we shrink it down at the 715newsroom.com to what matters here in your world. Local headlines, community connections, and things you care about. And we like to show you different sides so you can decide. Listen, with a to-do list and just lifing all the time, it can be hard. We get it. Getting headlines and news, that should be easy. We share the same planet. Get news for your world at 715newsroom.com.
If Culligan isn't treating your home's water, you likely have water problems all around you, like hard-to-clean chalky residue on your shower, faucets, and bath, stains around your sink drains, spots on your dishes and glassware, plus dull, dried-out hair and skin, and problems you don't see, like scaly buildup in the water heater and pipes. But have no fear, you're in the clear with Culligan Products and Service for all your residential and commercial water filtration needs.
Visit CulliganH2O.com for your local Culligan water dealer. Has anyone told you how amazing your business website is? I didn't think so. Do you think it's just sort of Websticks has taken thousands of websites from to amazing, and you only pay for the help you need with blocks of time that never expire. It's kind of brilliant. Websticks. Find out more at websticks.com. That's websticks with an X.com.
Stunning sights, more clicks, web support from Websticks.
The latest sports news, scores, opinion, and commentary. If that's not enough, you should seek professional help. The Dan Kasper Show.
Brewers will be looking for a series win later on this afternoon as they take on the Atlanta Braves. Again, first pitch for today's game is going to be at 1:10. You can tune in at 105.1 FM and 790 AM to listen to the call. before the Cardinals come to town for 4 straight games. And Jacob Mizorowski reportedly is going to be called up and will be starting tomorrow's game. So a lot of excitement surrounding that. But we'll see if the Brewers can maybe get a little momentum and get that win in another series win. Before that, your Twins getting shellacked last night, by the way.
Yeah, that wasn't good for the run differential, that's for sure.
Yeah. But still in second in the AL Central. The Tigers are just dominating right now at this point. I mean, if you had to pick a top team in Major League Baseball, is it the Tigers?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're number 1 right now, which is incredible given how the AL was kind of lacking for so long. And they have arguably, and maybe inarguably, if you go by stats, the best team.
Yeah.
In all of Major League Baseball.
Isn't it when you kind of look back at last year and how it all played out, and obviously the Tigers went on that insane run just to make the postseason, and then you look at this year, what they're at right now, I mean, it's pretty kind of a whirlwind calendar year or last 365 days, if you will, for this Tigers team.
I'll be curious once we get to like early August, right about the time last year that streak began, and looking at what their record is by that point, if they can keep at a similar pace with that.
So remember, Tariq Skubal was supposed to be traded last year.
Again, very good for them, and man, not so good for.
That's why that's one of my frustrations for Major League Baseball is teams so quick to give up on players, because it's like, okay, you're having a down year, that means we got to trade everybody. You know, there's
unless you're
narrative.
The Rockies and you can't do anything at all because you can't figure out what your plan is,
or Pirates,
right? But even there, like it seems like every time Paul Skeens has a start that doesn't result in a win, it's going to be news now.
Yeah.
He had a no decision, which still ended with a Pirates win, but that was with no decision. Like
that was a headline. It actually was a headline.
Yeah, I was like, well, yeah, okay, when they did win, and I know that's a thing where you have pitchers like Jacob deGrom several years ago. And we all know if all of our teams have that one pitcher that does really well and they never get run support. But given that it's Skeens and that he basically will hold his opponent to like 0 or 1 runs, but still can't get a decision, that is an indictment on the Pirates.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to actually move him. Like, again, he's not moving at this trade deadline.
No.
You can feel the crescendo, but it's not going to lead to anything at the end of this July.
Right. So he's going to be a very popular name next year, all off season and into the next season.
Probably.
I would imagine.
Probably, yeah.
And it's like, what's I'd be curious to know the worth of him, like trade value worth. That's what fascinates me is like, what is the worth? How do you put a price tag on that?
Because you can't do the trade machine,
right?
Like you can in the NBA, just slot him in there and see what you probably get.
And it's because like draft picks are like meh, you know what I mean? Like it's not that much. You just need the prospects right away.
Right. I mean, they need offense. I mean, if you're looking at this really for the Pirates, what would make them better? And in this area, probably more people going, do we have to do this? Because we'd rather the Pirates not be competitors in the National League Central. But for the Pirates' sake, they do need more offense. So, odd to say, short of them spending a lot more money, I mean, that's the right answer. They need their owner once and for all, he's one of the bigger complainers about, and I don't say that in a bad way, he's one of the bigger complainers about the financial setup of baseball right now, which is bad. But if Bob Nutting is going to, if he was able to start spending, that would be the best thing to do. If he won't, the next best thing is to have a broader base of a lot of offense, and maybe that way you can be competitive, and then hope that after 2028 or so, or 6 or whatever it is, 2020 is the deals, the media deals. It's next year that potentially could be the last one before a strike.
Yeah.
Hopefully after that, with now we're hearing salary cap getting floated a little more. I found that interesting. Gosh, then maybe they could compete more with more offense, but no Skeens. Conversely, maybe Nutting is figuring, I hold out. Yeah, my team is gonna suck, and I'm gonna have one of the best known players, and I'm gonna hear all of this trade talk. And unless Paul Skeens demands a trade and sits out games, I'm talking as the owner.
Yep.
I just get past 2026, get a new financial structure in place, really hope something, either a salary cap or something akin to it, like the apron system of the NBA. It wouldn't be that, but something like that happens, and that way he feels more comfortable spending. I would like to think that he's not going, I got Paul Skeens, I'm good, and that's it.
Right.
The impression I get is it's not to that degree. There are a few owners that are just like, let's get the cash cow and we're good. I don't think that's him. But that will be an interesting thing to watch if Skeens in his representation. Doesn't he have Scott Boras?
Probably. If he doesn't, he probably eventually will. I would imagine.
Double check. Anytime I hear Scott Boras, I'm like, okay, that guy's
just baseball
gone
for him.
So, Paul Skeens is not
yet
a Boras guy. Yeah. But nevertheless, I mean, here's frustration in his post-game comments, not after this game, but like a prior game. So, I mean, it's out there. It's something that may have to be addressed.
Assuming that he does remain healthy and such, and even maybe, nothing major that. I mean, he is going to break a record for his contract for a starting pitcher, right?
Yes.
I mean, he will, whoever it's going to be, and I think we already know the contenders at this point.
Right.
But, I mean, he is...
Well, the Dodgers could use some pitching help, and I'm not being facetious.
No, I think, what was it, last week? Only the Dodgers were above the Brewers in different combos of starting pitching, which is just fascinating to think about as the Dodgers,
I mean, we were talking about that was a potential with them, but that they built enough depth. I was not expecting it to be this.
The weird thing is, like I was mentioning in the first hour, this is a nugget that surprises me, and maybe it shouldn't. But for all of the stuff that the Brewers have been going through with their starting pitchers, second best ERA in the National League, fifth best overall in Major League Baseball.
How are they doing that?
Chris Hook. That's got to be
him.
Chris Hook.
Yeah.
Front office for maybe, they going back to that Quinn Priester trade when they acquired him, and a lot of people at the time was like, oh, that's giving up a lot. But you kept hearing the Brewers say, we want to get him in our system, work with him, and kind of develop him. And they obviously saw something or knew something about him where they're like, hey, if we get him in our system, he's going to be a really good pitcher. Because they trust that system. They obviously really trust Chris Hook and Jim Henderson, their assistant pitching coach. And why wouldn't you at this point? Look at the different examples. And that's where, you go to Mizorowski starting tomorrow, which, yes, I know it's probably not the biggest need for a starting pitcher. But the dude is consistently hitting triple digits late in games here, too. And it's like at some point you were probably going to see him start a Major League Baseball game. I don't know if he'll be here for the whole rest of the season. I don't think so.
Probably not.
And I know there's probably going to be some upset fans about it.
That's how it goes.
But I mean, you look at that, and that's just another example of like, man, don't let. And remember when Pat Murphy was hired, there was that story in that report too. A lot of the players, what was one of their reactions outside of being happy for Murph, but is Chris Hook staying? And and I'm surprised his name wasn't mentioned more as a possible manager candidate. I mean, we talked to reporters and guests that we had on the program. Is he a name out there? But he's like that, I guess, to put it in a football term, maybe that offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator that you don't want to let go. Yeah, it's like, okay, we got to pay more for that assistant coach,
and they'll find a way to do it.
Right.
I do think the Brewers front office structure, I guess, is such, at least philosophy is the better way to put it, it has to be constructed in a way that emphasizes finding good pitching instructors, because there's a history of this going back probably about I'm gonna say broadly almost a decade now of like real, like, I mean, you can find other parts in their history, but this run of they're always going to be good with pitching, and it seems to go back to about the latter part of the 2010s. Doesn't matter who's there, they know what they're doing.
And Hook, by all accounts too, he's been a Brewer for life within the system. He started off in 2008, I think, with their AA team, did a little bit with the Timber Rattlers and such. So, I mean, he's been a part of the Brewers organization since 2008. I mean, you're talking about almost 20 years within the coaching ranks of the Brewers.
And sometimes they'll still go somewhere else if there is an opportunity, but I would think in his case, it would have to be either managerial or a really high profile pitching spot.
It was like the pitching coach before the Brewers that a lot of Brewers fans, myself too, was disappointed he was leaving was Derek Johnson. Remember we were talking about like, oh, we can't lose Derek Johnson for what he has done. He took the pitching coach job with Cincinnati because he was, I think that's where he was from, and he's still over there too. But this one's actually kind of worked out really well.
Yeah.
It's worked out incredibly well for the Brewers.
I mean, he's born in San Diego. I don't know if the Padres came calling or if the Dodgers did. And we've talked before about how the Dodgers have a really well done organization. That's part of their appeal, why they bring in so many free agents, because people like now his 18th season. That's where you'd worry. But I'd also, again, look at the track record. The philosophy seems to be strong enough now, durable enough now. I think they would be okay if Hook ever were to ponder leaving. Right now is not. And that's, I mean, I know the Brewers' offense is not having the occasional decrepit moments that it had last year, but also been cycling through a whole lot of pitchers, but that they're holding their own. All things considered, being a handful of games out of a postseason spot, and as unlikely as it seems they're going to really be able to make a run given the talent, it's still there. It's more there than we thought a month ago.
So really quick, maybe we can hit this up again in the next hour, but because every year we'll talk about it when it comes to the Brewers, free agency, they got to make moves. They got to get these talent. Considering the sample size now that we have seen with what Chris Hook and his pitching coaching staff can do with the pitchers, should we be less worried about the pitching staff, even though they may not be named guys and big name free agents? Should we be less worried about that and then maybe direct our attention on okay, just go find the position players in?
Probably. I mean, let's be real. If you don't have resources to do everything, and honestly, most teams can't excel at everything. It's a tough thing to do, to have the best pitching and the best hitting and the best defense.
Otherwise, you'd probably have multiple World Series championships right now.
Yeah, let's be real. And look who gets into. I mean, you occasionally have a streak. Astros being a good example of that, but it's rare. So yes, I think that's the right approach.
Yeah, I mean, because next year it sure looks like it's going to be a lot of youngsters in there. But right now, I think given the sample size, maybe put your faith in me.
It's okay.
As Chris probably should say, put your faith in me. So, but focus on getting some power and some offense. Hey, Joey Ortiz is on a 4-game hitting streak, everybody.
There we go.
Progress. Baby steps. We're getting there. All right, 2 in, 1 more to go. Stock reports coming up after these news updates.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's your news done differently with Morgan McCarthy.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. We start with a gavel drop in a case we had talked about this week, now coming in with a guilty verdict for the defendant charged in the killing of a man 6 years ago in La Crosse. 45-year-old Anquin St. Junius has been convicted in the killing of Virgil Stewart. Prosecutors say St. Junius fatally stabbed Stewart at a location in January of 2019. Jurors have found the defendant guilty of second-degree reckless homicide. Well, here locally, Eau Claire first responders were called into action. This happened Tuesday morning as there were reports of somebody struggling on the Chippewa River yesterday. A firefighter went into the water, rescued the man. It was between Lake Street and Water Street bridges, so that area in the water. There's been no word on how he came to be in that water in the first place, but again, that rescue is success. Details online from the Eau Claire Fire Department at 715newsroom.com. Well, the man who was the recent subject of a manhunt in Eau Claire appeared in court this week. Leo Lacey is charged with crimes that include hit and run, intentionally pointing a firearm at a person, theft of property, and false imprisonment. At a preliminary hearing yesterday, Lacey stated that he has been unable to secure a lawyer. The court is allowing him more time to do so, and next appearance for him is scheduled later this month. Was the Dairyland a cash cow? When it comes to tourism, new records were set. The Wisconsin Department of Tourism announced a third consecutive record-breaking year. We'll look at some state numbers as they were released from Governor Tony Evers' office. Here in Wisconsin, we generated $25.8 billion in total economic impact from tourism in 2024, which was rolling past that $25 billion we saw in 2023, and that includes locally. Eau Claire and Chippewa is saying the same thing, echoing the statement that tourism is hitting record levels. I mean, let's face it is pretty nice to live around this area. Can you blame people for wanting to come here? And not too far from us in Paisley Park, the Prince Estate is hinting about plans for reissuing 2 80s era albums. If you're a fan of Prince, might be something you want to listen to. Get your little red Corvette ready to cruise.
In an announcement over the weekend, Lundell McMillan of the Prince Legacy said a boxed edition of 1985's Around the World in a Day is on the way. According to the Purple Stream, he also noted that fans will see a release that involves the 1986 album Parade. McMillan didn't reveal exactly when fans could expect the reissues. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And if you've seen the Man Cave, you know that Kasper has the Packers decorations. A big fan, like most of us are, but every once in a while you have a stray Vikings fan in your life. And we were kicking around ideas what you can call those tiers when they begin about mid-season for the Vikings fans. And Kasper said we should call it
the Purple Stream.
Not bad for sports talk. 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
The midweek is starting off on a dry note as temperatures are mild in the 50s and 60s across the area. As we head through today, do expect a mix of sun and clouds, a slight chance of a few late day showers, highs in the upper 70s. As for tonight, we'll continue with chances at a few showers, partly cloudy, a low of 54. And then tomorrow, another chance of showers, partly to mostly cloudy, 73, with more rain Friday. On 13 First Alert, meteorologist Derek Dahlman.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
11104 Madison, CordellCordell.com.
If your home's exterior sustained damage in the recent storms, Walker Roofing and the reliable crew can help. Walker Roofing takes the hassle out of the insurance claim process. Walker Roofing has you covered. WalkerRoofing.com.
From the hardwood and the diamond to the gridiron and the course, Dan's got you covered with his trademark blend of sports passion and knowledge. He has the sports info you want and the sports therapy you need. So get your game face on, people.
Let's go get some bell, huh? Put up or shut up time. We gotta get it started from the jump. Play big. Let's go. That's what legends made, man. Showtime. Welcome to the big leagues. Let's go.
Because it's the Dan Kasper Show.
Final hour on this, Wednesday morning, June 11th. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with our good friend, ESPN.com's Rob Demovsky, with Packers in the middle of mandatory training camp. We'll get some updates over there, plus with the Jair Alexander situation. So Rob will be joining us here in about a little less than 25 minutes. So before we get to that, though, let's hit up a little stock reports. Whose stocks are rising and whose stocks are falling? We'll start and give you the honors there, Lucas. Whose stock is... Well, let's do stock rising first.
Stock rising?
Yeah.
I will say, I'll just say broadly NCAA athletes, which, I mean, the money was coming, but now that the House settlement has been approved, we know the cap's going to be about $20 million, goes up from there, all of that. There are players that are going to get paid now that there are probably a few that wouldn't otherwise, and at least there's some broader structure to all of this. I mean, I guess you could even make the case everyone involved right now is stock rising. Now, that's not going to last for everyone. Some will turn out better. I mean, entity-wise, some will fall further behind. I'm curious about this College Sports Commission.
Yeah.
That got quickly, I mean, it was being planned, obviously, but quickly announced the NIL clearinghouse enforcement thing. I do like that they're going to assess these things real fast instead of going on for like a year and a half over someone getting a free dinner. But broadly speaking, especially the athletes, literally money-wise, but I think everyone, it ultimately helps out now that this thing is finally approved. And for at least now, we'll have small s settlement. Still got to figure out the transfer portal thing, but that's a separate issue. That's got to be worked on. But at least the NIL stuff and the money, that's better.
I'm really curious though. Now things are going to get real with the cap, as you mentioned, and such. I'm curious how these GMs are going to do with that role, right? I mean, that's now we're getting into pro sports territory, and how this is going to be all allocated. Because I honestly feel like we're going to be opening up some doors where there's going to be some frustration. Like, well, maybe it's from the coaches or players. We deserve more of the money. We need more funds. We need to hire one if we want to compete. So I feel like that's going to open that door.
The thing that really caught my eye most of everything I've seen in the past week or so, and I'm blanking on the team, but one of the schools said they're considering private equity funds coming in. Went, whoa, okay, this is really getting professional now. Like, that made me go, well, this is a 180 from the old days of the coach and the AD, and that's all you're doing, and you're just going to figure out the private equity is now getting involved in funding stuff. But if you're going to fund stuff based on how this is essentially a junior pro circuit, that's what college, especially college football, basketball, and a few of the others, depending on how on its prominence, have become, well, you're going to need that extra cash.
Yeah.
So I guess stock rising, big money investors out there. This is a growth sport still. We're not at any point of college going kaput.
Right.
You're going to make money off of this.
Yep. I'm going to go a little bit of a different route on my stock riser. I'm going to go stock riser, Carrington Valentine.
Ooh, interesting choice.
I'm going this route because he's got a chance to make some moolah now. Keyshawn Nix is still under contract for another year for Green Bay for 2026 and such. But no Jair, and obviously they did not draft a corner very high. They did sign Hobbs in the offseason. I think Carrington Valentine's got a shot now to he's going to get an opportunity. You hear players, Ned, just give me an opportunity. Here you go. You've gotten a lot of snaps the last couple of years. He's going to be a top 3 corner on this roster, probably one of the better outside corners. He's going to get an opportunity to make some dough. We keep talking about extending Zach Tom and Quay Walker and these guys, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Carrington Valentine is entering his 3rd year, and he's got a 4-year contract, I believe. Let me just double check because he was a 7th rounder pick. So, I mean, right now you're looking at, this is some spot track. Right now, he just has a cap hit of $1.05 million. Next year, it's $1.17, and then he's going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2027. So he's got an opportunity to make some moolah, and let's see if he could take advantage of it. So that's why I'm going with a little bit of a different route, but stock riser.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So,
was he one of the?
He was a Dan Kasper or Lindsey Pipkins Memorial watch list candidate. Yeah,
I forget. Do you have the list written down?
I should. I probably could go back.
Let's get the list here because before you know it, we're about almost not quite 3 months, but about 2.5 months from our next award. If it's given out this year, that's the thing. There's no guarantee.
Yeah, that's true. Because last year was Kalen King, and I think Carrington was the year before that. So.
That sounds right. So, see, I mean, he's got one thing going for him now. Now he can make some money too.
Yep, definitely. So
he knows.
Stock faller,
U.S. men's national soccer team.
That was one of mine. So I'm
glad
well,
you know what?
So,
it's a side note before we dive in. From the Press Box podcast from The Ringer, Brian Curtis, he's probably, I guess, for people that don't really follow his work, and he's done a lot of stuff, but he's probably best known for the term, the Now They Tell Us story. And I've seen that a lot more of late. Like, he talks about it on the pod, but I think there are enough people that listen to that it's spread out now. The stories that come out right after the firing of someone. Well, we talked about that last week with the Knicks. The Now They Tell Us about, so this is what Karl Anthony Towns, blah, blah, blah. But he also has a segment on their World's Easiest Target. whomever, like anyone can pile in. No one's really going to have a counter take on it. Just go. Right now, that's the men's soccer team. If you want to make that yours this morning, welcome to the club. We got plenty of space here. We're all good. Look, I know last night, in case you weren't following, they lost 4-0 to Switzerland.
4 in the first half, wasn't it? They allowed all 4 goals in the first half.
It was a friendly, so no, this doesn't count towards any tournament. I know they've been looking pretty bad of late in general.
Yeah. What's going on with this? We were talking a little bit about it earlier with like popularity and such, right? But I mean, come on now. What's going on with this men's team? How do we fix this?
I really
make me like soccer, but I want a winner.
Right. Well, because like
I don't want to be a fan of a Browns type of team.
I don't understand it. Like he's their manager, and I know he hasn't been there long, but Mauricio Pochettino. I mean, he's managed some pretty big programs. Tottenham, PSG, Chelsea. Those are 3 of the biggest names in the world. And that's until he came to the United States a year ago. So I wouldn't go right being like, well, manager's bad. Really? It may be.
Is it the developmental?
I think so. I think they may be a little too young. I wonder if they're being coached up just right, but this is a constant thing with USA Soccer. I don't know why the men can't figure this out. Women do.
Yeah.
They're good. Why do the men only seem to do it like every other World Cup, for example, or maybe another one of those, like a Federations Cup or whatever, one of those other ones out there? This is the first time the United States has conceded, per ESPN Stats and Information, 4 goals in the first 40 minutes since November 9th, 1980. I was 2.
I wasn't born.
It's been a long time. I would like to think they will be better next year. I mean, we still got a ways to go. And again, this is a friendly we're talking about. They didn't like lose out in
It wasn't friendly for the U.S.
No,
though.
it was not. They were getting booed down in Nashville last night. They're in a bad spot right now. They got to fix this soon. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So if you want to run with that, go keep piling on.
No, I'll go Knicks. Because every request they're making is getting essentially denied. Apparently, which I mean, it's not a big surprise, but still,
it's funny and annoying at the same time.
Right? Yeah. Because what? They apparently requested to interview your coach Finch and got no. And then Houston Rockets coach, no. I think what they should do is probably request to interview Doc Rivers. Just my opinion. But,
are you hoping that gets rid of Doc Rivers?
Yeah, maybe that's what it would take. So I'm surprised they haven't yet. To be honest, that they haven't requested to interview. I mean, they barely have interest in Kidd. So, and if you're Jason Kidd, why wouldn't you have interest in that? Right? I mean, I guess you have the first pick, but
I guess
who's closer to a championship at this point?
He's going to make a mocking statement about, well, all they need now is Thanasis, and clearly that would be Giannis's direction.
Which also, by the way, is my other part of the stock followers. Everybody else, the talking heads that are trying to talk into fruition of Giannis leaving, and now we got. Did you see the Euro quote? That sort of thing. Yet you don't see that headline anywhere too much.
Not too much. I mean, maybe that changes now. Maybe at once and for all, we're like, well, if you keep saying that, and I know it's very easy to do the whole is any given athlete or any sports figure who denies something, are they saying the truth, or are they just saying what's literal in front of them, but they know what's going to ultimately happen? Fair enough, but dude, you want our coach? You're just going to ask. I mean, they asked, obviously, and then Wolves management said no. But so you're just going to keep asking around, and whomever they end up getting now comes across as like, oh, that was like the 5th or 6th pick. And maybe that sometimes that 5th or 6th option, or the one that seems like the leftover, turns out pretty good. Joe Mazzulla, I'm pretty sure, was like, that looks like a leftover option with the Celtics. It's turned out pretty well.
Yeah.
But it's becoming more of a mess there and I know I was doing a bit of LOL Knicks a week ago. It looks a little bit more that way now.
I got another one though too. Before I'm just loaded up with
Ooh,
a
this
lot
is
of
a bad
stock
week.
fallers. Yeah, I could go really deep, but I won't. I could go youth sports, but I won't. That's just another issue in itself. Cincinnati Bengals with their Shamar Stewart's issue right now. In case you haven't heard, he was their first round pick and he hasn't signed. And he's already sounding off. Apparently, first, he has yet to practice off season as the team reportedly attempts to set a new precedent with rookie contracts that allows the club to void future guarantees. Stewart yesterday saying, I'm 100% right. I'm not asking for nothing that has never been done before. But in this case, you all just want to win arguments more than winning more games. Well, then you got the Trey Hendrickson ordeal that's going on. So, Bengals. Yeah, you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and all that. But, boy, if that's true, like, okay, you're trying. Does that surprise you that it's coming from Mike Brown and the Bengals?
They are so tight. He is so tight. He is, I mean, he's one of the smallest spenders around.
Yeah.
So, no, this does not surprise me. And I don't know if we can quite extend one to the other of they spend all that money on the bigger names, and you're like, okay, so who else are they going to be able to afford? And so the other players are like, okay, so you want to pay us? And so the Bengals don't have that money now, and maybe that's the reason why that's happening. Or it is philosophical. They can pay, they won't on principle. And now you have that bit of an issue. I'm not entirely surprised that it's Stewart. I got the vibe that he might be a little bit disruptive wherever, but he's justified here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's not a knock on Stewart. That's a knock on the Bengals.
Yeah.
So fix that, guys.
Yeah. I almost feel like Joe Burrow ruined Mike Brown's vision for I mean, because they had success, they go to a Super Bowl, then you're like, oh crap, I got to build a dome practice facility that's not outside 365 days a year. Oh man, I got to re-sign Jamar and T. Higgins and shell out a huge contract to Joe Burrow. You know, it's like, ah, crap, we were good. Now I got to do this sort of thing.
They're trying to convince Cincinnati to renovate. At least they're not talking about another domed stadium out there. But they're still asking for money for that, and I think that gets resolved, but that's a thing right now. There's a lot that's not great with that team, and yet they're still going to be a factor.
Oh yeah.
I mean, maybe it puts a ceiling on where they can get, but they don't need much to also be really good either. If they can figure out a few of these things, they'll still be quite competitive. This is not the decrepit Bengals we've seen a lot throughout history.
Right. I honestly feel like if maybe they didn't go to that Super Bowl a couple of years ago and such, would, we talk about some of the worst owners in sports, would Mike Brown be listed on there kind of quietly? Because, he doesn't cause drama. It's just he doesn't spend.
No. And he's always had one guy that opposes stuff. Now, sometimes I would argue he's on the right side of certain issues, but no, he's a quiet iconoclast.
Yeah. Switching gears here before we talk to Rob to baseball here, because I just saw this pop up. I like these type of polls for discussion's sake. So the Athletic posted this just a little bit of anonymous MLB player poll. Who the players love watching the most? So like MLB players, who do they like watching the most? There's 135 respondents. There's some interesting where some of these guys landed. One's probably not going to surprise anybody. It's Shohei. He got 29 of the votes. Any guess on number 2? He's a very popular
not yet
player.
read it. I just copied copy pasting, but I've not read.
And he is a popular player.
Not looking at my screen.
He is an MVP candidate.
Okay, MVP. He's popular. So he's got to be good. I'm being thrown by the image they put because I'm sure they just put on hot names on the front, but that doesn't necessarily match what the actual poll result was because that's a classic technique. So this is an MVP candidate this year.
Yes, and was last year.
Okay. It'll be obvious when I hear it.
Oh, yeah. But maybe a little surprised who's at 2. AL.
I mean, Aaron Judge?
No. Bobby Witt Jr.
Okay, yeah, I was starting to lean Roy. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. Bobby Witt Jr. got the second most votes. I'm going to go through this list here.
Okay.
Because Aaron Judge isn't as high as I thought he would be. Ronald Acuna Jr. is third. Got the third most votes. Ellie De La Cruz, I can kind of understand that. Mookie Betts, then Aaron Judge. Him and Francisco Lindor tied.
Okay.
Tariq Skubal, Mike Trout tied.
Still.
Yep. Fernando Tatis Jr., Jacob DeGrom.
Interesting.
Notice a couple names I haven't said yet. One we were just talking about a little bit earlier about maybe setting contract numbers.
Uh-huh.
Blake Turian from the Dodgers. Bryce Harper, Byron Buxton, Garrett Cole, Duran, Michael Harris, and then Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens only got 2 votes out of 135.
Interesting. That is interesting. Why he would be... I mean, is it because he's newer?
Maybe.
But Bobby Witt Jr.'s fairly young as well, and he's at the top.
Now, I do have players receiving 1 vote. Willie Adames. I'm not going to go through all of them, just some of the names. Yeah. Nolan Arenado, Corbin Burns, Corbin Carroll, William Contreras, Yu Darvish, Pete Crow Armstrong, Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Merrill, Austin Riley, Juan Soto. Think about that. Juan Soto, 1 vote. Spencer Strider, Justin Verlander, just to name a few.
There's a few surprises in there, but what they're looking for has got to be different than what we're looking for. Because I'm looking at the quotes on the players. I mean, the stuff on Shohei Ohtani is just like unreal cheat code, best my player you could ever create, stuff like that. For Witt, it's the quality across several aspects of his game.
If you scroll down a little bit further,
and De La Cruz is all like really cool, fun to watch.
Yeah. If you scroll down a little bit earlier, what hitter would you least want to pitch against in Game 7 of the World Series? The guy that got the most votes only got 1 vote in that one, Juan Soto. Then it's Ohtani, and then Judge.
So they respect Soto. They don't like watching Soto.
Is he boring? Is he, going back to the whole Duncan sort of thing? Is he just good?
I don't think so, because Soto will show himself off a little bit on the field. He's not as demonstrative as, like, we're not getting like bat flip territory.
Right.
Who am I forgetting from the Blue Jays?
Jose
Batista?
Yeah.
He's not that, obviously, but he's not Mike Trout.
No.
Mike Trout would be the Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
If we're talking really good and just kind of.
What pitcher would you least want to face at the plate in Game 7 of the World Series?
Ooh, I mean, I think right now you'd say Skubal.
He got second.
But not Ohtani. I know that would be the easy answer for a casual fan.
Did Ohtani make he did not make it, okay.
Let's...
Last year's Cy Young Award winner.
Who was it?
For the NL, Chris Sale.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been pitching really well.
That still surprises me.
Yeah.
I mean, Sale had enough of a... It wasn't bad, but it was an up and down period.
Yep.
And I'm a little surprised that he's... I think I need... And my gosh, he's on my fantasy team, so I know he's good. But I think I need to acknowledge... I think a lot of us need to acknowledge he's actually really good right now.
Really good.
Yeah.
As Wheeler got tied for the 3rd most votes, along with Chapman. And then Duran from the Twins also got 3.
Well, he's one of the better closers. He'll be rocky, and I say that as a Twins fan. I know there have been plenty of times Duran has blown games, but I think you'd rather have Joan Duran than not.
Yep.
Ultimately.
So,
interesting list.
It is.
Soto being that low he's got some good quotes from other players on here, but I'm surprised he's that low.
Yep, I agree.
Unless, was this poll done in the last 2 months where the Soto... Oh, no, it was until early May from spring training. So it might have covered a little bit of the what's wrong with Soto. Does he have bad body language time? So it may be skewed a bit, but down to only one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still surprised by that.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll talk a little football with Rob Demovsky from ESPN. He's coming up after these quick words.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people are looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hi, John Murphy here for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment, but now it's mainstream. And QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. Their well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now, 715-443-4440, 715-443-4440. That's 715-443-4440.
Something amazing is happening at work. Innovative tools are helping people do better work. That's because CDW configuration specialists are multiplying productivity with Microsoft Windows 11 Pro Surface devices. Built-in security, flexibility, and simplified management streamline tasks so your team can get more done. Microsoft and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/surface.
Has anyone told you how amazing your business website is? I didn't think so. Do you think it's just sort of Websticks has taken thousands of websites from to amazing, and you only pay for the help you need with blocks of time that never expire. It's kind of brilliant. Websticks. Find out more at websticks.com. That's websticks with an X.com.
Stunning sights, more clicks, web support from Websticks.
Warmer weather means more time on your feet. Make sure every step feels great. Whether it's running, walking, or working, proper support matters. The Shoe Doctor carries a wide selection of supportive shoes, custom insoles, and footwear solutions designed for comfort and performance. Stop in to find the right fit for spring and summer activities. The Shoe Doctor, helping feet feel their best season after season. Visit the Shoe Doctor today at 2321 East Claremont Avenue or online at shoedoctoreauclair.com, where comfort starts.
Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it really easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of Goodyear tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan, see their Goodyear test results, tire ratings, and reviews. Be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Broadcasting live from the TDS Sports Talk 105.1 studios, it's the Dan Kasper Show.
Packers are in the middle of their mandatory mini camps right now at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, obviously, but taking some time with us this morning out of his very busy schedule to keep us updated on everything that's going on over there. A good friend, Mr. Rob Demovsky from ESPN.com, joining us again. First of all, Rob, I know football season and that, but you got to be getting excited maybe for a little UW Eau Claire basketball coming up here in the winter too.
So my son who's going to Eau Claire is actually in Eau Claire right now.
All right.
With some of the guys working, going to coach Malvik's basketball camps this week.
I'm excited for this Blue Gold season. A lot of really talented, including your son, a lot of talented kids coming over this year, it sounds like.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting over there as much as possible. You know, it's funny, Dan, you said off the top, like the mini camp, of course, is in Green Bay. Well, there was a mini camp way back when that was not in Green Bay. So it's probably good that you clarified that.
That's true.
Way back in the mid-'90s, before the Hudson Center while the Hudson Center was being built, I think they had a mini camp in Arizona.
Oh, man.
So I think, it was a free trip to Arizona for a lot of us in March. I think that was the March or April mini camp. The off-season programs changed so much. It used to be, when I first started covering the team, it used to be they had a rookie mini camp, an optional mini camp, and a mandatory mini camp, and that was it. Basically three weekends in the off season, and that was the entire off season program.
Man, it is weird to think back of all these years, how much has changed, with the collective bargaining agreements, stuff that affects that and that. But even thinking back to, if you go to the Lombardi days, 2-a-days and 3-a-days, it seems like are just gone to history now.
What's funny is yesterday the NFLPA had a couple of representatives that practice. I think it's just routine. They go around from mini camp or off-season program to off-season program or mini camp to mini camp, and they basically watch to make sure that these aren't contact practices. And Matt LaFleur made a point. He came over to the sidelines for where the media was, and he was saying this to us, but I think he was saying it just loud enough that the NFLPA people could hear. And he was like, "Well, you guys learned a lot from this practice. Not much real football going on here. You can't really play." And he said it kind of like, "You can't really play football anymore." He was saying it to us, but he wasn't saying it to us, if that makes sense.
Little tongue in cheek from Coach.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
And I'm sure we're going to talk about things that we've seen at minicamp, but you got to preface it by saying this has basically been a jog through. The whole off-season program has been jog through speed. So I'd love to tell you that Matthew Golden is putting his foot in the ground and running these, electrically fast routes and beating guys, but we just haven't really seen that stuff. The only thing you can really tell is, two things: who's lining up where, meaning like what position changes or lineup changes might be in the works, and then just who's healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, kind of, and then also, obviously, I want to ask you about Jair, because that's been a big topic of discussion here, and kind of a weird offseason, after the season was over with, what he said and locker room clean out, like didn't really have anything nice to say or didn't think he was going to be here. Then Gutey at the combine kind of making comments that seemed like he was going to be gone. Then it sounded like, hey, are they going to reconcile? But now he's gone. So, kind of a weird, how did we get to this point, Rob?
Yeah, very weird. I think this was almost always going to be the end game. He was not going to be playing for the Green Bay Packers. After the season, and I reported this sometime back in, I can't remember, it was February or early March, that the Packers had just grown frustrated and were ready to move on because they just didn't know from week to week when he was going to play, and you can't operate that way. You can't have a guy practicing all week thinking he's part of your game plan, and then by the end of the week is not practicing. And so, I was fairly certain, based on what my sources were telling me, that Jair would never play here again. Then they found that they weren't really able to trade him, and then it became, okay, well, maybe we can work something out. And I don't know the specifics of the contract that they ultimately offered him, but I'm assuming it was very, very a big pay cut, or at least a big pay cut with, the possibility of earning stuff back. But either way, Jair didn't want to do that. And here we are. This is, Dan, why teams and players have March roster bonuses, so that these decisions have to be made before they pay them in March. And in Jair's case, he didn't have one this year. And it really kind of, made the process drag out, because if they owed him $6 million on, March 15th, saying that we never would have been to this point, they would have cut him before March 15th. So It's a little bit when you see these, why do players have these March roster bonuses? Well, it's A, to help the player, but it's also to help the team have to make a decision and not drag these things out.
I know you guys got a chance to talk to Gutey yesterday too, and he seems to be really high on his new top 3 corners with Carrington and Keyshawn and the newcomer Hobbs over there. In your opinion, do you think, that they should make because you got a lot of fans saying, well, Asante Samuel Jr. is still available. Do you bring back Rasul Douglas and that? But it seems like Gutey's good with what he's got right now.
I mean, that's what he said, but I guess his actions over the next couple of months will determine if he really believes that. I don't necessarily disagree with him that he's got 3 pretty solid corners. But where I probably would tend to disagree is I'm not sure they've got a guy, right? Like, I don't know. Keyshawn Nixon told us after the season that he wanted to be the number 1 corner. Well, you can want to be a lot of things, but I'm not sure that he really is. Nate Hobbs is a guy who's played inside, played outside. Carrington Valentine's mostly an outside guy. Decent player, but he's not. I mean, he was a 7th round pick for a reason, right? And then you look at, okay, even if you like those 3 guys and are convinced that those 3 are good enough to be, play championship football, what do you have behind them? And right now, their top, the next 2 cornerbacks who probably would be next in line are a 7th round pick this year in Micah Robinson and a 7th round pick last year in Kalen King. I believe he was a 7 off the top of my head. And both of those guys are hurt right now. Now, I don't think it's anything major. Kalen King had a cast or a wrap on his left forearm yesterday when we saw him. Micah Robinson, we did not see, but he is allegedly injured. They don't obviously have to give injury reports at this time of the year. So now you're looking at, okay, well, who do you have back there? There is one name that maybe people should keep an eye on. He's probably an unknown name, but he has played a little bit in the league. Gregory Jr. is his name, and I believe he actually is a junior, so it's Gregory Jr. Jr.
Oh boy,
where's number 38? Has been getting a lot of run with the 1s and 2s in minicamp. He's been in the league a little bit. I want to say he was a 6th round pick of the Jaguars a couple of years ago. And so he's a guy that's gotten some, maybe nobody's heard of, has got some time and might factor into this. But my point in that is that, it's not like they've got a deep stable of corners that if something happens to one of those top 3, and look, something's probably going to happen to one of those top 3, right? It's a position that seems like it's a pretty high injury rate. So I think there's definitely concern there.
And I know a big one that, from watching your guys is reporting in that Bo Melton was getting some reps over there too. And I think some fans were probably taking really serious, like, are they really going to have him play at corner? But is it part of it just because you look at the wide receiver depth now too, after drafting 2 wide receivers, that they're trying to find maybe some versatility with Bo Melton?
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point, Dan. Look, I cannot think of a single player in my time covering the Packers who's made a position change and it's worked out. Usually they're moving you positions because they don't think you're good enough to play the one you were playing. So why would you be good enough to play one that's not your natural position, right? But in this case, he's not necessarily moved off of receiver completely. I mean, in one drill yesterday, in the same period, he caught a pass and tackled Tucker. I say tackle, there's no tackling, but covered Tucker Kraft. Catching a pass. So it is a little bit Travis Hunter-like, but I do think you make a good point. They really like Bo Melton's athleticism. He's one of their better special teams players. I think they would love to keep him, but if he's only a receiver, then that's probably tough. I cannot imagine, that he's going to play cornerback in a game, but maybe. He's got cornerback in his blood. His brother Max, the second round pick of the Cardinals last year, and had a pretty good rookie year. So playing cornerback. But I asked LaFleur. I said, was this out of necessity or out of intrigue? What Melton could do, and he said, well, a little bit of both.
Interesting. Hey, Rob, before we let you go, I know this was kind of like a national topic or headline the last week or the week prior. Jordan Love, has he regressed? From last year and such, and I know Matt LaFleur answered questions about it, Jordan Love and such. I mean, but really, what do you think heading into year 3? Because I'm sure some people are going to say, well, Rodgers led the team to a championship in year 3 as a starter.
Sure.
Love's entering year 3. Is Jordan Love entering a pivotal year in your opinion, or do you think that's kind of a narrative that's unnecessarily being exploded out there?
Well, what was it? Year 5 for Favre. Right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
They didn't go to the Super Bowl till '96. So, yeah, I mean, sure, it's a pivotal year, but it is a make or break year? No, I don't think so. I mean, sure. Do you look at Jordan Love's numbers and are they worse? Yes, but I mean, for half the season, obviously he missed the 2 games, but for the next, several weeks and maybe even more than a month, he was not really moving that well. So, I will say this: the Packers and everyone involved are acutely aware of this narrative. And Dan, the first time since Jordan Love's really talked to us, it's the first time I saw him, and I only want to say get angry because he didn't, but he pushed back on a question for the first time ever, and it was that question is, why do you think you regressed? And he said, I believe his quote was, who says that I have?
Yeah.
So I just, there's a little bit of pressure there. Obviously, he's feeling it because he said that. But, I mean, this is not, I don't think that there's huge reason for concern. I think we were all spoiled by an 8-game run where he threw 18 touchdowns and 1 interception. I mean, Aaron Rodgers doesn't even have streaks like that or didn't in his heyday. So I do think expectations maybe got a little bit out of whack. I think I said this on your show when you had me on after the season. This year they won 11 games, and the year before they won 9. Yet the year before, people felt better about the season. So, I think it's just all a little bit of perspective there.
Really quick, any concern about Elton Jenkins? I know he's at minicamp, but not practicing. Sounds like he wants a new deal. Any concern with that?
Yeah, I mean, they say he's not practicing because he has a quote injury. I think his injury is that he doesn't want to get injured because without getting some more guaranteed money on this deal.
Right.
I think and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's got some sort of injury. Now, he wasn't here all off season, so sure, it's possible he showed up. The doctors looked at him and said, you're not practicing because you got this or that. But there's no question that he wants something done with his contract. He's not, from what I was told, he's not upset about moving to center. He's upset about the possibility that he's got no more guaranteed money. He could play center this year. If it doesn't go well, they could cut him with 2 years left on his deal, and he sees no more money.
Gotcha. Interesting. He's Rob Demovsky. Make sure you check out all of his work, ESPN.com. Follow him on the X, and maybe we'll see you quite a bit at the Sound Attack Center watching a little hoops this winter too, Rob.
Yeah, hopefully all the Eau Claire fans come out and watch because I think it's going to be, hopefully it's, that already is the start of a nice new era with Coach Malik. They had a great year last year.
Absolutely. Hey, we appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll catch up with you again soon, okay?
Sounds good, Dan.
Thanks,
appreciate
Rob.
it.
You got it. There you go. Rob Demovsky joining us here this morning. We got to take a quick break. And, we'll be right back after these quick words.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
When it came time to update the floors in my home, I wanted to make sure I did it right. So I went where I knew I would be taken care of, and that's Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. From the moment I walked through the doors, I could tell this place was different. No pushy salespeople, just a knowledgeable, friendly team ready to help you out. They really took the time to listen to what I wanted, helped me compare options, and showed me flooring that actually fit for my style and my budget. The selection, massive. Carpet, luxury vinyl, tile, you name it. Whether you're remodeling one room or your whole home, they've got you covered. And let me tell you about the install team. They were awesome as well. They were on time, respectful of my home, and the results were spot on. Just beautiful floors that made my space feel brand new. So if you're thinking about new flooring, don't overthink it. Trust the place that I trust. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Local service, expert advice, and floors you will love for years to come. Visit Carpet City Flooring Center today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire.
Still looking for something for Dad this Father's Day? Stop by Fleet Farm and get him a gift he really wants at the best price guaranteed. Like Columbia apparel and footwear, now 25% off. Or get him a Wildview video trail cam for just $29.99. And what dad wouldn't love a Milwaukee M12 5-tool combo kit for under $200? For these and more last-minute Father's Day deals, stop by your local Fleet Farm or check out our latest weekly ad at fleetfarm.com.
Baseball fans, it's time to root for the home team because Milwaukee Brewers baseball is on Sports Talk 105.1 FM and 790 AM. From the first pitch to the final out, we've got every swing, every strikeout, and every walk-off win. Don't miss a moment of the action all season long. Tune in and ride the roller coaster with your Brewers only on Sports Talk 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Your home for Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you.
Every regular season Friday home game at American Family Field, ticketed fans 21 and over who sit in the Miller Lite beer pen in the left field Loge bleachers will receive a free Brewers can holder, courtesy of Miller Lite and Leinenkugels.
Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org, insured by NCUA.
Oh, tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's 10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list, like this leaf blower. PayPal can pay for your purchase. The Great PayPal Checkout.
No purchase necessary. Ends July 18th. See official rules at paypal.com/thegreatpaypalcheckout/terms. Participating merchants only must use PayPal checkout online. Coverage of up to $100 and eligible purchases per card.
If your home's exterior sustained damage in the recent storms, Walker Roofing and the reliable crew can help. Walker Roofing takes the hassle out of the insurance claim process. Walker Roofing has you covered. WalkerRoofing.com.
He's smart, informed, entertaining, and he knows his sports. In other words, he's the kind of guy I'd like to settle down with in a small, cozy cabin in the woods. That is, if he was a woman with a case of cold ones. The Dan Kasper Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
Before we get to some picks, just a quick thanks again to Rob for joining us. I know because, I mean, they're literally right in the middle of mandatory mini camp, and for him to take some time to catch up with us here in the Chippewa Valley, always appreciate that. It's some good info, good insights that you didn't find anywhere else. Right there. I like the Matt LaFleur NFLPA comment. You know, that sort of that was pretty cool. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
But again, big thanks to Rob. If you missed it, we'll put it up in our podcast later on this morning. So, but no, like talk about basketball. His son's on the Blue Gold men's team. I ran into Coach a couple weeks ago at actually Little League, and we were talking about the team and better get excited for what's coming.
Okay,
we're talking about some D2 transfers.
Okay,
multiple top 50 state of Wisconsin players.
Okay.
So there's some excitement.
Okay, that's good.
You know me, I'm a football guy, but I'm definitely excited for what. And I Coach Zach and Coach Adam, two cool dudes. I mean, you want to talk about passionate and dedicated to. That's going to be a fun team to watch this coming year.
That's good.
So
now they'll be settled into Son and Tag a little bit more too, and all that. So cool.
Yeah,
there's a lot to watch this year.
There's gonna be a lot of talent on that court for that men's team. So, and it's cool that, I mean, you know, Rowan, his son, already up here helping out with the camp, and you know, he's just gonna be a freshman this year too. So, guys buying into the program, right?
That's good. That's good.
Yep.
Good to
so,
hear.
all right, should we do some picks?
Let's do it
to wrap it up here. First off, NBA Finals Game 3. Who are you rolling with?
I will take the Thunder.
Any concern about Tyrese with the injury?
I don't know that it's going to matter ultimately. I mean, he doesn't have to take over games for the Pacers to win. I think the Thunder are just going to ultimately outsmart Indiana enough that Indiana can't pull off a comeback. So I don't think it's going to matter in the end.
Yeah, I'm going to go Thunder too. I'm still saying Thunder in 5.
Yeah.
So they're going to reel off 3 more wins in a row here.
Yeah, I was like surprised, but not surprised the way Game 1 ended. But I mean, maybe they do match up fairly well. I wouldn't be shocked if it goes 6 at this point, based on what we've seen now.
By the way, we were kind of talking about it. Shams, about 20 minutes ago, did say that the Knicks or the Mavs gave a firm no to the Knicks request to interview Jason Kidd. So firm
Firm no. Not just a no, a firm no.
No.
Totally different.
Probably wagged the finger and said,
Mm-hmm.
no,
not happening. Like no soup for you kind of thing.
Yep. So, I mean, we were talking a little bit off the air. It's got to mean that they're looking for a head coach, like a current head coach or somebody who's got head coaching experience.
So
it seems like.
Who are the retreads?
I mean, Malone would be one. I mean, that's the easy one.
Mike
Jenkins.
Brown.
Yeah, Mike Brown.
The ones who've been around enough. You're like, okay.
Darvin Ham. I mean, I'm just, thinking of assistants that are retreads right now.
Gosh, that would be.
Well, if it's Darvin Ham, then the Giannis to the Knicks things are not going to stop.
Would that legitimately concern you as a Bucks fan?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I was starting to think. When you said Ham, I'm like, oh, wait, whoa. That would be a little scary because he might actually. The national media will go, yeah, well, look what happened with the Lakers. Well,
Lakers actually went to the playoffs with a kind of a crappy roster, though, too. So,
yeah,
I mean, hey, they won the in-season cup.
True. That's right.
Darvin Ham, 2-0 and in-season cup champion. He's got 2 medals.
Well, see, so if he goes to the Knicks, you can already pencil that one in for December.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This feels like who was the coach that teams most coached by NBA?
Mike D'Antoni. He already coached the Knicks.
I'm going way back. Like, who was coach? Oh, Larry Brown.
Oh, yeah, Larry Brown. Yeah.
I mean, he's the obvious one, and I'm thinking of a few others that have been. I mean, we're going way back with some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny Wilkins.
That's honestly the name I was thinking of was Lenny Wilkins at first.
There's one other I'm blanking on who is like the most wins, but also has a losing percentage because he's been in so many spots. And it's from the 70s. I'm blanking.
Don Nelson?
Not Don Nelson. Most NBA coach wins rank. Who? Bill Fitch.
Karl?
I'm thinking of Bill Fitch.
Oh, yeah. There's George Karl, though, too.
Yeah, he would be one.
Mm-hmm.
So someone like that, I wonder.
Rick Adelman.
Yeah, those types. That's who I wonder if one of them ends up. I mean, not them, but a current example. But Jenkins or Malone are great ones because they were coaching winning teams until late in their seasons, relatively. I wouldn't be like that. Seems like maybe a good choice, but I'm saying that in a very peripheral sense. They may not match the current makeup of the Knicks, and it would be a bad fit.
I got 2 more for you. Talk about retreads. Then we'll get back to picks. Scott Brooks, Lawrence Frank. Come on now.
I would have said Rick Carlisle if.
Well, yeah, but he's probably not going anywhere.
Probably not. No.
But would the Knicks probably request interview? Probably.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep.
I still wonder about Spoelstra. If they're asking Finch and Udoka, if they're asking the Wolves and Rockets about those two, I mean, they seem to have the cojones to go ask the Heat, can we interview Eric Spoelstra? Yeah. I mean, I would think the firm no would be a little more firm coming from the Heat, but it seems to track.
Just looking at, maybe some bottom playoff teams that maybe could jump up there. I mean, Ty Lue?
Possibly. But that's going into a more dramatic situation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he would want to do that.
Right. Other than that, I mean, Memphis already, I don't know. So
they're settled in. They're not going to change.
No. So, excuse me. All right, let's go to some baseball picks here.
Okay.
Let's go. Where did it go? Where did my schedule go?
Marlins Pirates.
Thank you. Yep. Marlins Pirates.
Sorry that anyone has to watch that game. I'll take the Marlins. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go Marlins too.
Cool.
I mean, it's the thing. It's like we were talking a little bit about earlier. Even if Paul Skeens now is starting, you're feeling, okay, he's putting them in a position to win, but they can't win.
Right.
So
I don't know. But then the Marlins also just got swept by the Rockies. So
yeah. Break up the Rockies. Cubs at the Phillies.
I will take Philadelphia.
I'm going to take Philadelphia too. Jesus is pitching for Philadelphia. So Reds, Cleveland.
Guardians.
We'll go Guardians. We'll go skip over this one, get back to it. Toronto and St. Louis.
I'll take Toronto. They've been more hot of late.
Eric Lauer's pitching. How about that name? I'm going to go Cardinals.
Yeah, wow.
Seattle, Arizona.
Take the M's.
I'm gonna go with Arizona in this one. Let's go Athletics and Angels.
Angels.
Yep. Same. Dodgers, Padres.
Take the Pods.
I'll go Dodgers. Detroit, Baltimore.
Tigers.
I'm gonna go Tigers too. Just they're awesome right now. Tampa Bay and Boston.
I know the Sox have struggled of late. I think they'll get the win here with Buehler on the mound.
I'm gonna go Red Sox too. Nationals, Mets.
We'll go the Nats for this one.
I'm gonna go Mets. Yankees, Royals.
Ooh. I'll take the Royals.
I'm gonna go Royals too. We'll go White Sox, Astros. Astros. Giants, Rockies.
Take the Giants.
We'll go Texas, Minnesota.
Twins pitching has gotten rough of late, in part because of injuries. I don't know if I trust David Festa, so I'm going to go with the Rangers.
I am going to go Rangers too, and then Atlanta, Milwaukee. Spencer Chad.
Let's go Brewers for this one.
I am going to go Brewers too. So, Chad Patrick's been their most consistent starter throughout the season. Has not allowed over 3 earned runs in any game. So, hopefully that continues tonight. Just offense. Better make sure you get something.
Actually happens this time.
You get something in there. So,
you're a little scared when the Braves were throwing up all those runs the other night. Like, oh, now they're figuring it out.
Yeah. So, but it's Chris Sale on the mound too.
Yeah,
it
didn't help.
It felt like that was going to be the loss. So, but
yeah,
I think Chris Sale. I mean, you look at what he's done since May, or was it April? I think it was May. A little bit of a rough April. May's. You want to say he was the best pitcher in baseball so far? He was lights out so far in May.
He's gotten better. By the way, Royce Lewis actually, I just saw the stat, 8 for 20 in his last 7 games after he had that 0 for 32 stretch. He's finally gotten good. I hope this lasts longer, but this is reassuring for sure.
Really quick, I wanted to ask this because we were talking about the Tigers. Is there anybody that's more indicated than AJ Hinch right now, maybe?
Yeah. Wow. That's a good take. Yeah. I mean, it was looking kind of rough there for a bit. Like, maybe he's not. Well, yeah, now they're playing really well. Like the light bulb turned on.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid choice.
Especially if they win it. Legally win it.
That's going to be a thing there, unfortunately. It does help his reputation if he can go to another place and win and put together a consistent winner. That they can withstand Skubal eventually. Probably. I mean, I know it's not NBA culture of I just want out mid-contract, but if they can keep this going, they got a young enough team right now. I think he could put together a bit of a run. He doesn't have the advantage of someone like a Jeff Luhnow. I mean, when he's done, he's done.
Yeah.
Resuscitate their images to varying degrees. Okay, so here's a question. Could Jose Altuve have gotten a better career perception had he gone to another team?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Sticking around Houston might actually hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, that's going to do it for us. DP, Dan, it's up next. Really quick, they put up their poll question. What front office has the worst reputation in the NFL? Bears, Bengals, Browns, Jets.
Interesting one.
Browns leading the way.
Wow.
Yeah. Congratulations, Bears. You're in last place on that one. So a little bit of RESPCT. Have a good Wednesday. Back at tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
You're listening to the Dan Patrick Show on WAYY Eau Claire.